Hey, what's up? That's so weird. I can't watch the. It's like a little bit delayed hearing you
Oh,
talk and like seeing the video.
yeah. You
But
gotta
that's
put like
okay.
put like
That's
a
okay.
sticker over my face or something, so it's gonna look really strange. Just focus on the screen. Don't focus on my voice. Focus on the screen. You'll be fine.
Okay, heard. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Yeah, so well indeed that I will do this. But that's all. That's just for the recording. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if you. Well, I mean, we'll get to it. um. So we have our music in the background. Hang on. Is it playing? Yeah. All right. So we have our Onyx from the.
Yeah.
Wait, were you still in Scar Mules, or did you already move on at this point?
No, I have not done CRA yet,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't moved out yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the plan is to move to the Scardor Guild once I can at the very least struggle with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
I've only been playing for about a month, so I'm not really quite sure how strong I need to be for CRA.
Uh-huh.
But I definitely can't do Von Von yet. If the time limit wasn't like 10 minutes, I think I
Mhm.
could kill him. But I just run out of time.
Right.
Uh,
Do you know how you
so,
can extend the timer?
no, is that a thing?
Yes, that's the thing. So in the phase one, there's these white clocks and these black clocks in the background that appear, right?
Oh yes, I definitely need to work on my mechanics for them
Mhm.
too. I don't really know much about what Von Von does.
Yeah. So if you hit him while he's in a white clock, your timer will go down faster. And if you hit him while he's in a black clock, you will extend your timer up to the max of 10 minutes. So basically, during the first two phases where he doesn't do too much crazy stuff, you can just keep extending the time, make sure that you hit him on the black clocks, not on the white clocks, and then you give yourself a lot of time to finish him off later. That's more of a, yeah, it's kind of a cheat strat if you want to be able to solo him. It'll still be a long run. It might be like a 15-minute run that way, because you just keep
Okay.
extending the timer that way, basically.
Yeah, I did not know. That's really cool.
Hmm.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, not only that you like have to extend it, but you might be, without knowing it, you might be decreasing it, right? So if you just are like
Yeah, definitely.
paying attention
Because
to the
I
math,
wasn't watching the clock like the whole time, so it definitely could have been going down.
yeah, and I
Before I
think
just
it
was
goes down by like
unknowingly hitting him.
3 seconds per tick every half a second or something. So if you're like popping full burst, then you do have a lot of lines as an Evan when you do that. And he's standing in a white clock, you could just lose like a minute or like a minute and a half on a timer. If you're not really looking at it actively, you can't really see that.
Jesus.
Hmm. So that's one thing.
But so yeah, I've been watching these progression
Hmm.
just sessions.
Hmm.
So I tried to come up with a few goals. Uh, I think my biggest one, I don't really know if it's like considered like long term or short term, but it's to at the very least be able to contribute to CRA because I want to get some CRA gear
Hmm.
before mine all expires. I
Yeah,
think
I saw
that's
that. It was
really important.
temporary stuff, right? Yeah, you have another
Yeah,
almost 2 months,
yeah.
so that should not be a problem, I don't think. Well, we'll go over everything, but I'm pretty sure you're pretty close to definitely being able to contribute. It's probably going to be just a matter of like practicing, doing some research. Maybe we can go into the bosses a little bit more detail to give you some more specific advice for the CRA bosses if that's like really important now, because it is, as a new player, it is quite a big speed bump if you're trying to just not get carried but carry your own weight. Maybe solo, but like not necessarily solo, but just be able to contribute.
I mean, I would like to solo eventually, but I
Mhm.
think definitely just being able to contribute in a party is something I'd be interested in because I haven't really done parties for anything
Mhm.
so far. Um, but I'm not opposed to doing like parties. I'm not really interested in getting carried.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean, doing party things sounds like it would be like pretty fun.
Mhm.
So I just saw you looking at my V matrix. I did see on one of your things
Mhm.
the what was it? The I don't know what they're called. The boost nodes, like the perfect ones.
Yeah, the try notes.
Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah, when I first hit 200, I hadn't discovered you yet, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So I think I disenchanted like every boost node that I had originally. So I have a really bad one right now, which is why I haven't leveled it up any. Or it's not really bad. I think it has like 2 good ones, but it's not a perfect one, and I haven't been able to get one that was any better than it yet. So I've just kind of been leaving it at level 1.
Yeah. So
is that okay?
Yeah. We'll get into that. Just a second to just go back to what you were saying. So it comes to like your goals and aspirations. I would say like contributing to CRA and like being able to struggle and then solo. I think that's all like pretty short term. That can be done like I think within the next I would say like 2 to 3 weeks. I would say, depending on how many hours you play. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I play a lot. I'm kind of unemployed right now. I'm just going to school, so like.
Kind of unemployed. Sounds like very unemployed.
Yeah, I'm very unemployed.
Yeah, no, I think that's like a 2 to 3 week thing, honestly. It's got to be just a bunch of practicing and feeling better in control of like what are the movements of the bosses, what can I do to counter them, and as long as you like don't die out, you should be able to get all the Root Abyss bosses all like over halfway easily by yourself.
Is that including Vellum, or is that just the first 3?
Vellum will depend a little bit. We'll have to calculate like what your functional IED is, but if it's already 90 visible buff, then you should probably be fine on that as well. We'll like see where we can move some things around to make you even stronger, but with 8k set, Vellum might be a little bit too much, but like if you can do like a quarter and you have a 4-man party, then that solves that problem, right?
Okay, cool.
Or like 3 days. Yeah, but I wanted to be realistic, but I think someone who like knows the bosses exactly and goes on your account might be able to do it within a week, yeah. But you might have like a bunch of other stuff that you need to figure out, and we will talk about a bunch of stuff here that we might have to redo first. But yeah, I don't think you're far off from... I mean, you're probably at like Struggle CRA level, where if you're like 2-3 man, probably can do it. You know, with enough practice, and then soloing probably within like a week or 2 at the most. If you play a lot, then like then 1 week might be enough. But I don't want to like put too much pressure on you that you feel like you're inadequate if you can't do it within that time frame, right? That's why I'm giving a little bit of a longer time frame, honestly.
No, I wouldn't feel like that.
Yeah.
I also want to hit 10k stat. Because I hit Choo Choo Island recently, and I finished all of that stuff. And I remember when I was at like 5k, and I've shot up to 8k like pretty fast. So I do just want to keep going up with that.
Yep. But yeah, that's the main problem I think there must at the nodes, I think. That's going to be where a lot of the final damage is missing. You're mainly relying now just fully on your 5th job skills for your damage, right? And some of those have a bit higher cooldowns than others. So that does mean that you're very burst heavy right now, and then off bursts you're going to be pretty slow because of the boost nodes. Main reason for the boost nodes is that you keep your damage very high up even when your 5th job skills are down.
Yeah, I have figured that out after like discovering you and hearing you like talk to other people about their V Matrix. When I originally saw it, I was like, why would I just want like 2% more damage on X move? But it makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, 2% makes no sense. Yeah, but 120, that's that's a whole other story. Yeah, because the baseline and because it's final damage and it just multiplies over everything, right? So have you thought about like so since that's like shorter term than you anticipated, like are there any longer term goals that you're like this boss in the game or this level or this area I really want to go there, anything like that?
I mean, I would like to. Well, I mean, I kind of just want to keep progressing in general. I guess I want to get like some Abso gear eventually once I get this other gear. Because I do have those 2 level 150 equips that I haven't really gone too hard on, but I know I can change them into Abso whenever I get to that point. So that'll be cool. It's like the my gloves and my shoes. I got the Ranmaru ones and then the Root Abyss ones. So yeah, I would like to get to a point where I can do it's what is it, Lotus and Damien to get that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd like to do that, but overall I don't really have like a cap for like, yeah, once I get to this point I'll be that's all I really want to do.
Sure.
I have been enjoying the game, so I just kind of want to keep playing and getting better.
Yeah, let's hope to help you keep enjoying it, because that's not evident for everyone. So which things in the game do you enjoy the most? Is it just like a balance of everything, or are there certain things that you just enjoy more than other stuff?
I kind of like grindy games, so just like building up my Legion and stuff hasn't really been a big deal. Oh yeah, I also want to get a bigger Legion board if back to like goals, because right now I don't have like that much. But yeah, I mean grinding and just like rushing out a few levels, like 140 is not really that hard. Getting past that, I can't really say, because there have been a few classes that I just haven't really enjoyed. So like they will take a little bit more out of me, like running them up to 140. But Evan, I've definitely enjoyed a lot. He was the first one out of all of these that I ended up picking.
And how do you generally go up to 140? Like, have you found a way that works for you for that? Do you just train them out, or?
So originally I didn't know what the levels were, but I did know that 120 was the level 2 link, so I can just straight shoot them to 120, and then depending on what their Legion was, I've been slowly like moving people up to 140.
Right. Yeah.
And then I just bonk them one time and just see how far that'll take them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the main thing for 140, the higher tier in the board maybe isn't even that big of a deal for most classes from 120 to 140, but the bigger deal is once you get enough characters that you can put in that they cover at least 3 grids instead of 2. That's the main thing, because that's 50% extra, right? Efficiency on the board. For their member bonus only goes up by like, I don't know, by like 20% or something, but their map coverage, their board grid coverage goes up by 50%, and that's the main important thing of getting them to 140.
Okay, that makes sense.
We should probably go like one at a time to kind of like cover all the basics of the stuff to make sure that you got everything figured out, and then we move on to the next thing, right? Don't want to like open up too many. But yeah, we were talking about like goals for your account. I bounce
around a lot, so if you do have like a structure that you would like to implement for all of this, that would be really. I'm not opposed to that though. That would probably be helpful.
No, it's fine. Like we can, I can just connect dots as we go. Okay. As you know, everything is connected ultimately anyway. But the main thing is, want to make sure that like one topic is like completely clear before moving on to the next one. You can still have questions, of course, afterwards. But if you keep bouncing around, there might be still at the end there might be a bunch of stuff that's unclear that you might immediately have questions about afterwards. So we want to minimize that. So when it comes to the matrix, and you have heard me talk about it like in other videos, do you have like kind of a clear plan on like which skills are you looking for? And have you looked into like if you need speed infusion? Because I think that helps on mana burst, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, speed infusion gives attack speed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that only really helps on mana burst, because none of Mir's attacks get affected by attack speed. But
so that would be mostly for bossing then, or did you like?
I mean, I know for year 1 command that had the preferable inner ability, that Evans do like the 1 extra attack speed.
Yeah.
So exactly. I imagine speed infusion would be good, but I haven't really like watched much about Evan bossing or anything. But I know that the tri-node that they want, it's probably I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's probably like mana burst, wind circle, and earth circle, because just those are the like 3 most used ones. And I have 2 of those actually right now. Or not 2 of that node, but I have like wind and earth, I believe, in mine. Just not the mana burst, which kind of sucks, because that is like still the most used one, because you're like weaving it in. Yeah,
you have to, while the other skills, well, kind of to kill the dead space between these skills coming online, right? Because you don't want to combo too quickly, because then you lose DPS, and if you do it too late, you lose all the DPS. So you have to a certain rhythm where, and I think that's why the attack speed also is quite handy, that you can weave in like 1 extra attack every time for a mana burst, because it's a bit faster. It allows you to maximize DPS a little bit more. Yeah, the mirror attack speed return gives an extra one, but I believe they need all of that because otherwise the attack speed +1 wouldn't be in the inner ability best in slot if you could get speed infusion, because you would always try to go for speed infusion over attack speed +1 on your inner ability if you only needed one of them.
Oh, okay.
So since it does have the attack speed +1 here, that I don't know any situation where they want you to get attack speed +1, but they're like, oh, you don't need speed infusion. Like that would be weird. You would always get like your 15th slot or something in the matrix. That would always have way less value than an extra, like than a prime line on your inner ability, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I believe you need all of them with like green pot and with your own attack speed. That's probably because the base attack speed is like pretty fucking bad on mages, I assume, because we mostly use the staff, right? But then
I mostly use wands just for the crit damage. I definitely could
crit rate,
spec
right?
into, the crit rate. That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
I could spec into. I have some extra hyper stats yet, just because none of the stuff I've been specking into has leveled up. But I chose a wand at the beginning.
I've asked a bunch of mages before, like why staffs over wands really? Because
staffs do more damage, right?
Yeah, but they're really, really close in damage, like extremely close. Okay. And then I think the arcane weapons have it's something like 5 magic attack difference or something, and then with including the flame, it's like up to 9 or something. If you have like a tier 6 flame, and then with all the star forcing and all of it on top of each other, I think it's like 11 magic attack or something maybe in total if everything is done. And if you compare that versus like having 5% crit rate, I don't know, 5% crit rate always seems more valuable there to me. I don't know. Unless, you're a bishop and you already have like 115% or something by yourself, then that totally makes sense. But I feel like for most other characters, it's like the only time it's really going to make a difference, I think, if you're like going 22 arcane, then the difference is maybe like 15 or something, or like then it maybe becomes a bigger difference. But I feel like 5 crit is really good. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone give like a really compelling argument why staff is so much more important than crit. The only thing I hear is, well, it gives more damage, and then I show them the numbers, and it's like, well, where? And then they're like, oh, wait, maybe I don't know. Everyone just says it, but yeah, but that's the whole thing, right? If everyone just says it, but no one does like the maths, then.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been using wands the whole time. I do have a Sweetwater staff, and that's the only thing, like, close enough to another weapon that I have, just because, like, I haven't really needed anything else.
Oh, someone said there's discussion on the Evan Discord for arcane weapons, and technically for Reboot, only wand would be better with 8k Legion, slotting some into crit and dropping the Phantom Link. It's like 1 to 2% final damage difference. Yeah, exactly. So I think they were, like, really close. But to just like universally say staff is better, I don't believe that. Like, it's better for the classes that have a lot of crit, but like I found it really hard because if you look at the inner ability, right, that you want on mages, most of them want like 20 crit. So I'd be like, well, why, if you need 20 crit to hit 100 here so that you can get out of the Phantom Link and everything, then why would you go for a weapon that has like 7 more magic attack but loses 5% crit rate there? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I was just asking the questions, and then you have like a bunch of angry mages in the chat. Well, stuff is better. It's like, well, like more magic attack does not mean better, right? Like there's different types of utility. Like we know about IED, we know about crit rate, we know about boss damage, right? It's not just get more range equals better, right? Like there's more nuance to that. But yeah, so inner rate Y kind of confirms
bigger number
that
equals better.
Yeah. Well, that's very much. But Innervate pretty much confirms that wand can be better if you can move out of the Phantom Link, which that makes sense. So if you get like an arcane staff to drop, then you use the arcane staff, right? If you get an arcane wand to drop, then you just use the wand. Like you don't have to feel bad about either drop, I guess. Because some people might be like super disappointed that they get the wand drop, but if you look at the arcane, I mean, we could look at it now, but like arcane.
I mean, I would be pretty happy with any of those drops, honestly.
Yeah, it's like Yeah, so the staff is 353 magic attack, and the wand is 347. That's 6 magic
So
attack
like
difference.
6 magic, yeah. And those are the only stat difference. And the wand attacks faster, so. Oh no, they're both normal.
Normal. Yeah, but that only
okay.
matters if you're like smacking things with it, I think. If you're using like basic
does it?
attacks. Yeah, they don't use the attack of their weapon for their spells or something. Mages are really weird like that with attack speed.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if I could trade like 6 magic attack, and not just 6 magic attack, but 6 magic attack on a 350 base for 5% crit rate, like I would probably always do that unless my character already has crit rate out the ass. So, yeah, it's not like you're, oh no, like you're at such a huge detriment. Oh no, like if you can kill something with a staff, you can also kill it with a wand. Like there's no major differentiating factor there. Yeah. Okay, so that out of the way and attack speed out of the way. Yeah, so speed infusion will help later on, but it's probably not like a huge priority. I imagine that when you're mobbing or something, you probably use it over Freud's, or you weave in some other stuff that's more useful for you.
Oh yeah, I only use. I mean, I don't even really use Freud's that much anymore. I recently got the Erda bind just because I had a lot of junk boost nodes. And I was like, I don't really know what a bind looks like, and I feel like at some point I'll probably need to learn like how those work. So I just made one, and I just binded some bosses I already can beat without it.
Makes it a lot easier, right? Like you prep all your big burst bind, and then especially
I don't have to wait like 2 minutes to cast a full Freud's before I walk in. I can just walk in, bind, and then drop my burst. So.
Oh yeah. So you were using it as like a pseudo burst almost, where you could just not get killed, so you could stand still and weave damage.
Yeah. So like, what was it? I mean, I haven't done any like really hard bosses. I guess the hardest thing that I've killed is I did hard Hilla before I got a bind, and I just waited in that room, got the max level Freud's, and then just walked in, and I just kind of kill her.
And then just like.
Yeah, she can't cage me when I walk in, so I have like 30 seconds to kill her, or I guess she cages me and I die.
Yeah, that's so that's two of the ways it can go. Right, so this, yeah. They have that like this and this combo, like the one on the left and the one on top left and top right, like they combo super hard to like the rainbow vomit breath, right?
Yes.
That's like really surprisingly strong. When you press that the first time, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. And then something I didn't know about it, but because I didn't really read my skills all the way, it like for all the different elements you hit, it increases your damage by however much percent. So it kind of changed the order that I was doing my abilities in, but it's very cool. I like Evan's fifth job a lot so far. I mean, it's the only one I've experienced, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, not much to go off of, but if all the other ones are similar, then you would like everything, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
So boost nodes. So the one that you're looking for, because I see that for the V Matrix for Evan, there's like some options there. But it seems that
so many
mana burst. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it comes down to some skills just being very useful in some maps, and then if you have them boosted, you can farm or train efficiently in those maps. And if you don't have them, you're kind of like restricted, quote unquote, to other maps. Which is really only a thing that matters if you're playing in a server with a lot of people, like NA Reboot. So. It does say most of the time here that Mana Burst, Wind Circle, Earth Circle, and Dragon Breath are like pretty mandatory, pretty important, like in both the setups. And then that you have some optional ones. So it seems that you'll need at least 3 boost nodes, right? But probably 4 to 6, like later on in the game. So I think like 3 or 4 early on is probably fine. You could probably start with 2 that are kind of mixed, and that like try to level the ones that you use the most 2 times, and then the 2 skills that you don't use as much only 1 time, and then introduce a third as you get closer to like 225, like around there, 230, and then by that time you have like a good healthy balance of like all the skills, and then you can throw them all in, because you'll probably have a few skills as well that are more bossing oriented, and then you can just squeeze those out, or switch those out. I mean, swap them out for the boost nodes when you're training, and then swap them back in when you're bossing.
Is getting nodes gonna be any easier?
So yeah, Vanishing Journey has a lower drop rate than the other areas, so that's already one thing. Once you get out of there, the drop rate goes up. The other thing is just in general, you're going to be killing monsters faster, which is going to end up giving you more nodes. Because you're just going to kill more monsters in the same amount of time. And the other thing is just drop rate and access to events is going to get you more nodes early on. So pretty much in the situation you're in, you want to make sure you do your Vanishing Journey dailies, right? All of your symbol dailies important, so you get 3 extra from Vanishing Journey.
Yeah.
You're doing both your dailies in all the areas that you can?
I just found out about that
Urda Spectrum?
the one on no I knew about Urda Spectrum. The other one, the one on Choo Choo Island,
right? The Choo Choo Hard Mudo, yeah.
Mudo, yeah. I just found out about that, and I failed it very, very badly. I tried it one time. I'm very slow, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I imagine I could get that down and start doing it daily after I like practice it a little bit.
Yeah, the main thing is, what's your arcane power at right now? 160? Yeah, I think for the hard version, I think you need 200 to deal base damage. So then up to 300 for bonus damage, so.
The day that I was taking these pictures, my thingy expired, which I didn't realize, so I lost like
a
few
title?
stats. Yeah, the one that they give you for that.
For the burn?
Yeah, it was like the Eternal Flame one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went down in IED, boss damage, and arcane power.
Oh, yeah, RD is so good. But yeah, the arcane power, that'll be a bit of a difference. And I guess the Mule Guild doesn't have any arcane power in it yet. But higher level guild has 30 there as well.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing you got from guilds.
Yeah, guild has to be a little bit higher level though, and the Mule Guild didn't quite reach that level yet, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to like boost nodes and like setting all that up, do you kind of understand like what do you have to do there, and like what kind of strategy you want to employ there?
Yeah, I just gotta get the right nodes. Is there should I like I know I can craft nodes like the random ones that can be rolled. Should I do that? Or
so you mean node stones? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I can craft like node stones.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do now, because you have so many outs and so many combinations that could be good. There's more average value return there, because you could also get more skill nodes and more special nodes that way, which give you even more shards. And because you rely on your 5th job skills for a lot of the damage, boosting those isn't necessarily a bad thing. So that's probably, like in the beginning, that's probably a decent thing to do, yeah. Once you have more specifically your boost nodes ready, then it's probably a better idea to just make node stones for boost nodes for those for a little bit, to boost those up more specifically. Probably until you get to like level 20, right? Because then when you have like, or like you have total level 40 at least until you have the 20 IED. So that'd be like 2 boost nodes of level 15 each in a level 5 slot. So for a total of 20 each to 40 in total. And then you could go back to just crafting node stones. Because at that point you probably want to start working on your 2nd set or 3rd set of tri-nodes, you know, depending on which skills you find very fun to use and what maps you want to train in. And then you can like, so you basically you go in width now, and then you go more in depth once you get them, or like at least the 2 or 3 base boost nodes that you want. And then once you have those and have decently leveled up, then you go width again to catch your net wider, and also start hopefully getting a little bit more skill nodes to yeah, because the value of return is better then. And you'll have enough like base final damage on your skills to be able to do everything like up to Lotus and Damien, I think, with level 40 boost nodes at least.
Yeah, I think when I originally hit 200, I didn't even really understand what final damage meant, which also just made it like less interesting for me. I was like, yeah, why do I care about this? New flashy skills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I want a new skill. I don't want to have like a little bit more damage than what I already have. I want to like, get like those things that blow up the entire map. That's what you want, yeah.
Yeah.
Intuitively, that makes way more sense.
But yeah, I think I understand that better now, and I'll just have to keep hoping for like a perfect node.
Yeah.
Or a few, I guess.
Yeah, the whole thing is like, if you have almost all of them and you're looking for one specific node, that's going to be very difficult to fill that exact order, especially because you have so many skills in there. The other thing is, if you do keep all the nodes that are like possible tri-nodes, then there might be like a huge possibility for mix and match. If you use a lot of nodes, and I know like Ho Young, I don't know if we have that under like a command. No, where's the... There's like a Ho Young skill thing where basically you can just interchange the skills for Evan's skills if you're going for like 3 sets of tri-nodes.
Okay.
Basically just keeps track of what all the things you already have so that you can kind of be like, okay, I have 1 A, 2 B's, 3 C's, whatever, and then you mix and matches it that way, and then because at a certain point it can be quite difficult to keep track of like, do I have 2 of everything? Do I have 2 of all the things I want? It could be a bit of a puzzle there. But yeah, I don't know if anyone... Does anyone have that thing for Ho Young? Because basically you can just interchange 1 Ho Young skill for 1 Evan skill, and then it comes down to the same system, right?
Okay.
I'll see if anyone has that one. Otherwise, I might have a progression session with a Ho Young where we talk about it and where I link it, so hopefully that will... might have to dig into that.
Yeah, I can look for it.
When it comes through, like... Because in this screenshot you did have 2 matrix points, but did you use those since then?
No, I haven't. Like, I know I can just reset it, but I haven't really known what I was supposed to like level up. So I just haven't been using it.
Well, every level you get a point, so it doesn't really matter what you level up. Just level like 1 slot at a time up to level 5, and then go to the next one. It doesn't really matter which slot you level up because you can just drag the nodes in your key matrix anyway.
Around.
Yeah, you can move them around later. So just level up a slot 1 at a time, and then whatever gets into that slot, you can determine that later. It's fine.
Yeah, I haven't even been focusing on leveling my guy too much since I hit 210. I think I have hit those 2 levels purely off of just doing my dailies.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I have the same.
So I haven't focused much on it at all.
No, that makes still sense. Like, I think my Adela leveled to 214. And then now it's 227, and it's just through doing dailies. Those last 13 levels were just like events and just daily killings for all the areas, and just slowly moving on. So that you can definitely like slowly move on. What'll happen is that your arcane power will accumulate a little bit faster than your level does on average, and you'll end up at like level 235 at a Sphera, and your arcane power will already be like 900 or higher, and you'll immediately be able to get the bonus damage on the spiders and stuff. And that way,
that's what happened to me with Reverse City. Is I was just doing dailies, not really trying to move on, and then I hit 210, and I was already like I had enough power to do like the whole Reverse City quest. So
yeah, for sure. Well, Reverse City actually has quite low. Reverse City and Yum Yum Island came out quite a bit later than the other areas before that. I don't know if you're like familiar with the whole build-up of the Arcane River, but basically in the beginning it was like Vanishing Journey, Choo Choo, Lacaline, Arcana, Morass, Sphera, right? And then Reverse City came out a little bit later, and Yum Yum Island also came out a little bit later, just as like a side story quest. With some symbols at the end if you complete the storyline. With the idea behind that being that now there's an area, and then Celis after that, be that there's an area for every 5 levels now. Because in the beginning it was a little bit weird. It was like 10 levels, then 10 levels, then 5, then 5, then 5, then 15. It was like a little bit all over and then 10 at the end again, right? From Asphera 235 to Moonbridge at 245. So they put like a few areas in between. So now every 5 levels has a new area. So it's a little bit more...
just like a smoother.
Yeah, smoother, exactly. Yeah, like a smoother transition to the next area. But for some reason, they did the arcane power requirements, even though the areas are 5 levels higher on Reverse City and on Yum Yum Island. They didn't make the arcane power requirements that much higher. In some cases, they're even like lower than the other areas. But the experience is higher because the monsters are higher level. So those areas are disproportionately way better to train at now. Which is
yeah. When I did it, and I was in that same spot that you've been training your people to 210.
It's crazy how how much experience it is there.
Yeah, that map is so good, especially like Evan 40, can hit so many platforms.
Yeah, exactly. and it requires 40 arcane power, I believe, as well. So it's completely non-prohibitive. There's a few maps there that are good, but then they require 100. But at that point, you're already moving on. You're already going to either to Choo Choo or to Yum Yum Island. There's probably some Yum Yum Island maps that are going to be very, very good for you once you reach 215.
Okay.
Like Hidden Iliard Field or something. I hear a lot of people say a lot of positive stuff about that one. Although, since it is so good and so so common, then it'll be low burn, of course. But yeah.
Is that how burning works?
Yeah.
The more.
Yeah, if a map is like left alone, it just builds up burning over time, and then if someone trains in it, it depletes 1 level of burn every 15 minutes.
Okay, that makes sense, because I've trained on a map before and seen that the burning went away, and I was like, I didn't really know what made that happen.
It's basically like a system that helps distribute people over more maps, right? It makes maps that maybe are a little bit less good intuitively become, or just by themselves, become more appealing to people if other maps are full, but you can get like 100% bonus experience on another map then while you want to switch over. This way, like, kind of, you know, eases the congestion of everyone trying to train in the same 2 maps.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I've made the argument in the past that it would be cool if you had a similar system for mesos as well, that you could have like an increased meso obtain on maps if nobody trained there, so that not everyone would be farming on the same maps either. I think that would be pretty interesting too. Like 2% more per burn or something for up to 20% extra on another map, something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I haven't really done much farming for money outside of like Ursus and the
Maple Tour.
Yeah, MapleStory.
Yeah, it makes sense because I mean, if you really enjoy the Evan and you keep playing it, it's gonna make a decent amount of money too, just from training. Especially once you get into like the legendary accessories and you get meso obtain on there. You'll see a lot of... I think I have
one meso obtain line right now.
That's already pretty good. You'll already see a decent difference in how much money you make. Once you get those 5 lines, that's it's really a huge chunk extra. And the other extra, of course, is the is if you can get the Legion coupons rolling. Yeah, you'll make so much money, and if you're already enjoying the character, then it's going to be like free extra money, and then I don't think you have any necessity to like dedicated farm. You could just keep training and make a lot of money that way.
Okay, that's good to hear. Because I feel like farming for specifically money would be kind of lame.
Yeah, you can imagine that some characters, if the only maps that you can kill in and get good experience are maps where it's really hard to loot, for example, like there's a lot of platforms or the platforms are like all over the place, it really makes it like you have to choose between either you make some money while you're training or you get good experience, and that kind of sucks. And Evan doesn't really have that problem. As far as I know, you can go into maps where the looting is like decently possible, and the other thing is you can put Mirror down and let Mirror do a bunch of skills where you're moving around and looting, so you don't have to choose between one or the other. You can do both.
Yeah, that's typically how it is.
Yeah, so that gives you a huge edge as an Evan, where you don't have to, you just don't have that issue as a character. So, I mean, because you say lame, for some people it's kind of like a necessity to be able to keep progressing at what they see as a decent pace. And for you, you don't have that issue as much because of the main you have, so you're kind of in a luxury position with that. Yeah, if you had to play like, I don't know, like a blaster or something, that's like way more like you enjoy the class, but you have to choose between like standing in one spot and destroying the whole map, or going around and looting, and then your kill speed drops tremendously. Then, yeah, that's kind of like a class specific issue. So it's going to be all about once you progress to new areas and stuff. So you probably want to. Well, you say you didn't really train this guy much now. Is it because you're focusing more on Legion, or?
Yeah. Once I got to Choo Choo, the bosses were definitely... It's probably like just because of my arcane power, but the mobs there were definitely like a big jump from like Reverse City and the other place, Vanishing Journey. So I was like, okay, well, I want to get my character stronger, and I can't focus too much on my gear to get him stronger because it's expired gear, so I don't want to just throw money at it. Or it's expiring gear. So I was like, okay, then I hit 210, and I was like, I'll finish Choo Choo Story, and then I want to start grinding on my Legion. So I went straight from like, what was it? I hadn't even upgraded my Legion once, and I have every day, I've tried to get one character, like create a new character, just grind them straight to like 120 or 140, and then play on my Evan if I really hate the character afterwards, because I'm like, man, that was kind of awful. I want to play something I enjoy.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
go back to my main for a little while.
And are you feeling like happy with that balance for now?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, before, like back when I was just like rank 1 Legion, so I hadn't had any of the boxes done. So like maybe the first few characters that I did, I was definitely, I think, pushing it a little too hard, even though I wasn't going to 140. I was like right when I first, started playing the game. So my characters were very weak from their Legion. Like it's considerably easier now.
Yeah,
like,
I think you already noticed
like,
the difference.
Yeah, I hear people complaining about like Jet and Shade, and those were the 2 newest ones that I did, and those were my 2 fastest ones to 140. And I didn't have a problem with them at all. But I remember like what was it? Kana was fast for doing it, and she was faster than the other ones, and she was one of like the first few that I did. So it's like I got done a lot faster than I had with like Phantom and Demon Avenger. So it's like, okay, cool, well I can probably work on another one then, since I finished ahead of time. And I did Mercedes, and doing that in the same day, I hated Mercedes and it took a while. So like that was a little bit too much for me, so kind of trying to stick to just doing like just one at a time, not trying to put too many into a day. But it's mostly been fine. Like it's not that bad. Although Mercedes was probably my least favorite. Either Mercedes or DA.
Yeah, I did DA a long time ago, and I had no reference frame. It was my first character, so for me it was like whatever. Like I didn't really think about it. But now that I'm getting a lot of other characters to 210, especially now, like the contrast is huge, right? Right back when I did it, there wasn't the 5th job. Like everything was way different. The balance of all the stats was way different. And then now the difference in like the power creep of getting 4 5th job skills when you hit 200, like it's like, wow, DA is really, really bad. Like compared to all of that, like holy shit, I can't believe I got it so far. But a lot of times it just depends on your perspective. Like if you already played something that's way better and way faster, then it's going to feel slower. But if you don't have any reference frame, then it just is what it is. Like there's no ups or downs. Like it just is that. So you'll notice that with Mercedes, a lot of people don't like that one, but a lot of times they make it as their very first character without any links in any Legion, right? So they play it at their absolute weakest, and then it's really easy to hate for sure. With Jet, a lot of it is just remnants from the past where Jet used to be pretty damn bad, but they've gotten a lot of reworks, and a lot of people leveled them back then and suffered through it and then haven't touched them in a long time, so they don't even know how Jet really plays right now.
Okay, so it's like the opposite of DA.
Yeah, like, kind of, yeah. And with Shade, it's just that Shade is kind of boring early on. Like, there's not much going on. And then if there's not, like, a lot of...
He has, like, no buffs. It was very weird going from, like, a mage main to Shade. It's like, my first buff is Maple Warrior at level 100.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's, like, a Fox thing you could trigger, but it doesn't seem to really do very much early on.
One toggle, and then one buff at level 100. I was like,
it's very different, yeah. Main thing with Shade is just that a lot of people kind of like get bored and then find that very unfun, you know.
I just like turn my brain off and hit minions. Like,
just put your nose in the middle of your keyboard and roll side to side and just kill things. Don't really think about things too much. Yeah. So when it comes to the Legion build up, like you kind of have the. Are you familiar with the links command in my channel?
Yes, I look at it a lot. I don't. It is like the character order is in order that I was supposed to be like following.
Well, you don't have to, but it's like a
them.
general order that I think they have good value to empower your Legion and to basically what you're feeling now, right? Like that added benefit of already having a bigger Legion and having your links available, that it makes everything a little bit faster. It's basically to play on that to make sure that that happens. Optimally sounds like everything else is worse, but like somewhat optimally, because a lot of characters will, for example, they will benefit. They have every character starts with base critical damage and has some critical damage, but if your critical rate isn't 100%, you're missing out on a lot of kill potential there. And some people like to go overboard on like bonus experience and all of that stuff, like in the Legion grid. But it's way more important to have enough critical rates to hit like as high as possible preferably 100% critical rate on a new character, that will make your kill speed go up by so much that it's way more impactful than getting a little bit of bonus experience.
Yeah, I've lucked out with my Evan to where it's like all of the bosses that I can do right now, I can pretty much do just without any of my links on. So I can move like my crit rate links and stuff over to whatever person I'm leveling up and not have to worry like later if I want to go do my boss dailies on my Evan. It's like everything I can kill right now, I can kill. So
yeah, that'll probably change with CRA and everything above, where you might still be able to do it, but it'll be a lot slower.
Oh yeah, everything that I can't kill, I definitely cannot yet.
Yeah, so that's why in general, like, so the experience links and then crit rate and then critical damage, like those are just very, very important. Once you have those, most of those down, you'll notice that the new characters for your Legion are way stronger, and then you just add more and more just like flat damage percentage and some like big chunks of weapon attack and stat, that kind of stuff that helps with most of your characters. And at that time your characters just start snowballing, right? Like you make a new level 1 character, you get it to level 10, it's not a level 10, like functionally at that point it's like a level 40 or level 50 or level 60 with how hard it hits, right?
Yeah.
Like when I go to Maple Island on a level 1, like my basic attacks hit 8k crit. It's like, that's not like normal. It's not like a normal level 1 damage, right? Walking around with like 8,000 HP and like hitting 8k crits is like, it's a far cry from what it used to be. Like that was the damage for a dexless third job, like funded Night Lord at like level 80 or something. But now just like basic attacks on Maple Island, like the amount of power creep there is insane. So with that, with your Legion board and everything and your grid bonus, I would say just keep whatever you have on there right now until you hit 3k, and then do like a massive like repositioning of everything. Because then, you know, at 3k you get the extra hex again, make the board a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to push to right now.
Yeah, and you'll go from 13 to 18 characters that you can put in as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
You can put 5 in extra, so that's a huge spike, especially also you'll feel your Legion characters get a lot stronger as well with that. And what happens with getting 2 hexes is that you basically move around from having, or you move away, I should say, from having like quite a lot of stuff in the middle of your grid to actually pushing everything to the sides of the grids. So like,
oh yeah, that was the main idea. Like I only have the 1 bar on the side right now, so I like filled that out, and then I just had all the extra spaces for my members. So I was like, well, I'll just throw them on intelligence.
So you'll basically use like the mage and the mage and thief, I guess, and archer pieces to just make like a flat horizontal line through the middle, so that you can connect the left side and the right side of the board, basically like critical damage and critical rate, or IED and boss damage. Like it doesn't matter like where the line is exactly, but it's got to go through the middle. And then you fill out, so the main thing is you fill out critical rate as much as is needed to hit 100%. So if you have 2 setups in your Legion board, like one will probably be heavier on the crit rate if you need it for your mules, the other one will be lower on the crit rate if you need it for your main.
Yeah, that's actually exactly how I have it. Like I didn't take a picture of preset 1.
The other one,
but preset 1's on the other side, and I have like the different inner ones swapped as well, so it's not like dex and HP to get to crit rate, but I usually am spec'd out on crit rate and like weapon attack or whatever that specific class needs.
Yeah, nice, yeah. And then the IED will get better efficiency because of it being a bigger chunk, and then so main thing would be like critical rate until you get to 100, and an IED until you get to the point that you need to, and then you fill out with critical damage as much as possible, and then if anything is left, it goes into boss damage. That's kind of like the general order.
Is there a cap on crit damage?
No, there's no cap there. No, there is some diminishing returns, but it doesn't really start until you get like over 300% or something. So you don't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm measly 80. I was feeling good about that 80 until you said 300%.
No, well, that's only archers who can hit that. Like archers are the only classes. Okay. They have like I talked about it in the last progression session. They have vicious shot, which allows them to go over 100% crit, and then they take 50% of their total crit and add it to crit damage for a temporary buff. So they can, I think if they full spec, they can go up to like 180 crit or something, so that they get 90% critical damage during their burst. But that's like the only class, only archers can even get close to that number. Everyone else,
is that like every archer?
Yes, I believe that's a common archer 5th job skill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every archer can do that. Kind of because archers in general not very burst heavy, so they kind of need that to make sure that they can make that happen. Without that skill, Archer's Burst would across the board be pretty meh.
Yeah,
so.
I think Archer might be my least favorite class right now, but I may have just not gotten good ones. Like, actually, Pathfinder was okay. But again, I hated Mercedes, and Marksman was pretty slow too, and I made that one early on.
Yeah, Marksman not the fastest, not known for its leveling prowess and speed. Not really. They made it a little bit better, but it's not known for that. No, for sure. Yeah, so that's why I was also kind of like emphasizing before getting at least enough characters to 140, right? So that the next 5 characters you can put in at least all cover 3 spaces instead of 2. That way, you know, you have 15 spots coming your way in the grid instead of just 10, right? That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But I think you have that at this point, right?
Yeah.
Well, so you have 120s here. I don't know how many of these you've leveled to 140.
I'm kind of just doing it as I see their their Legion skill being effective. So like a lot of these were mages that I made for whatever their link was. And then their Legion stuff is all just plus int. So I was like, I'm gonna not prioritize those then. So the next one I'm probably gonna do is like DA and Kana just for the boss damage.
Yep.
The Night Lord is only 100, so I can definitely push him to 140. I just needed exactly 1% crit on my my Evan, and I didn't want to put a hyperstat in for it, so I was like, I'll just run a Night Lord to 100 really quick.
Already min-maxing, I see, because the crit would be 2. Well, that would be 1%. Wait, that's 1 point for 1% though. Why not do that?
I don't have a good reason.
Okay.
It helps.
Sometimes you don't need one. You don't need to justify. You just didn't want to do that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, now we have a level 100 Night Lord to show for it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it helps my Legion out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If you get it to 200, it gives you 4%, I think. But that's for a little bit further. Yeah. So the general order, like which characters to do next, that's is that pretty clear?
I kind of just I have, since I made a blaster because I wanted more IED. So that's the one that I'm gonna be working on next. But I know that I kind of just look at this and I'm like, well, what do I feel like I need? And then I look at the Link Legions thing. I'm like, how useful would this character be? I know like how effective is the Aaron Link?
Not very.
Not very.
Same with the Evan
because
one.
like I saw it and I was like, or not Link. I meant well, yeah, no, actually, the Link.
Yeah, the Link.
Honor,
yeah, but it has like a cooldown. Same with
the
the Evan and the Aaron ones have a cooldown. So if it activates, it's like off for a little bit as well. If it like constantly activated for every single possible attack, there might be some crazy lifesteal play-arounds you could do. But if it activates, it goes on cooldown. So yeah, it's not reliable in any way.
Okay, then yeah, I'll probably just skip that one. I was like, if it makes leveling like way easy, then I'll probably do it. But
typically what I do is if I have like a bunch of 120s, what I just do is like log into them, kill Zakum, and then log out. And I'll do that.
Oh yeah, true.
I'll do that on like 10 characters a day. It's like super fast, and they all get just super free levels. You might get some Iron Face accessories for them. Sometimes you get a flame or a cube that you can throw back to your main. You can get some wealth acquisition or experience accumulation potion recipes if you get lucky for later. You might need those. And it's just for time invested versus experience gained. It's really, really optimal, and you don't have to like fund a character for anything either. Like you already know that you can kill Zakum. You don't need all your links. Like you can put your experience links on 1 or 2 if you want to. But like in grand scale, the way you have it set up now, you can just like log into all of them, do 1 Zakum and log out, and that'll take you like less than an hour a day, but you'll get a bunch of levels. And then as they get to 140, you just go to the next batch, basically, is what I do.
Okay.
But you know, if you enjoy the character and you want to level it like all the way up to 140, then I would do that instead, because then you could just have the box ticked off and move on to the next one, kind of thing, or to 141 and bonk it, something like that.
I'll probably do that for like Mercedes and Phantom, the ones that I didn't enjoy too much, but sure. Like and maybe DA, but the rest of them I could see just like grinding them to 120. They weren't, or I mean 140. They weren't really bad. I actually made that battle mage because I thought the class looked interesting, so I could definitely do that with my battle mage. I just thought she was a cool looking class.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting looking class. Do you the other thing you can do for like free or like really easy levels around that level is Monster Park, but I don't know if you're still working on the Monster Park medal, probably, right?
Well, yeah,
because you've only been playing for a
I've
month.
only been playing for a month, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
super
yeah.
far
Yeah.
away. But I am working on it, so I've been trying to do that less for my mules. That way, I can like check it off every day.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah.
I haven't been spending mesos to get extra runs for it. Do you think that's something I should be doing?
That's probably
'Cause,
worth,
like,
yeah. Because the
Okay.
access to the green, red, blue, yellow pots, by that and the extra boxes, I think makes it worth it. Yeah, pretty much always.
Okay.
As soon as you have the like daily and weekly income, of course, to be able to swing that. But I think very quickly that becomes worth it. Yeah. So I would add that. Yeah, and it speeds up the process by like almost an order of magnitude.
How many can you do in a day when
That's
you're doing
up to
it like
7,
that?
so you can do 5 extra coupons per day, so up to 7 runs a day instead of 2, so more than triple the runs.
So how much does that end up?
17.5 mil.
So oh, it's like 17 mil. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not max out on it each day quite yet. I'm not very funded, but I could definitely like buy a few runs each day.
Could do which daily bosses do you do on the Evan?
Daily, all the ones that give 7 mil, I do daily. And then sometimes I'll do the Rudibus ones. They only give like 1 or 2, so it depends on if I want to keep doing bosses or just move over to my daily quests or like cap on my candy.
Yep.
Or just go train a mule. But pretty much I just shoot for all the 7 million ones because I can do that. If it's Thursday, then I do Cygnus, Chaos Pink Bean, Hardhilla, and Chaos Zakum.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just bored one day and I tried Chaos Zakum and I was not prepared for like the 20-minute fight that was gonna be. The jump from regular Zakum to that was kind of insane. But then seeing that like 50 million boss soul was really nice.
Yep. It's a nice chunk for sure. Why is Chaos Zakum here over? Hang on, I need to double check this. Why is Chaos Zakum so low on this list? Oh, they're at the same level. Should probably move this around, but they're at the same level. But Chaos Zakum is like lower down on the list than Lotus. I'm not sure if that's like intended, but we can.
I mean, he has a lot of health, but I imagine Lotus is a lot harder than Chaos Zakum.
Yeah. Well, Czak is very buggy, so usually I just implore people. Like, you probably had that thing where he like smacks on the ground and you walk out of the way, but you still die.
I did not.
Yeah.
I definitely like failed a few runs just because like he'll smack the ground and I'm nowhere near it, or I like have already dodged it.
Yeah.
And I still just like get one shot, and I'm like, okay, I gotta take buff freezers in for this one, boss.
Yeah. So that's usually why I have a little bit lower on the list, so you could just go in and blow it up rather than have to deal with those buggy mechanics. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, well, whatever you want to spare, but I would say like the runs are definitely I would say those are worth it, yeah, as an investment for sure. Okay. Yeah, I think we're like lingering on topics a little bit too much because I don't think you need as much help as I'm like going into this.
I mean, it's definitely nice just like hearing about everything.
Yeah.
Which I do have a question because I only have one link spot left at the moment. I know I can start like trading them out as I do get stronger on my own. But which one do you think would be worth like the most damage? Like, I know there's the Kadena one, which I've read is really good. There's also like the Thief one, which I do have that one already since I have the Night Lord, but like I feel like the Thief one isn't that good. And then there's like Arcs, which is like however long you're in combat.
Yeah. Yeah, Arcs is
so
really
which one
good.
do you think
Arcs
would
is
would be the best.
well, so it'll depend a little bit for mobbing or bossing, right? So this what you have right now is more kind of a bossing setup, right? Because there's a lot of IED in there. So those are all already free to move around to switch out with things like the Mercedes and the Aaron when you're mobbing, right?
Yeah.
One that would be very good for both mobbing and bossing would be the arc for sure. Like it's you're just always in combat. It just means that in the last 5 seconds you have to have used a skill or gotten hit by a monster. Like that means in combat. So you can stack that very, very easily. And then even at level 2 that gives you 11% damage like all the time, and at level 3 it gives you 16, which makes it arguably the best link skill in the game.
Okay.
Kadena is very good if you're higher level than the thing you're attacking and you debuff them. So typically use it if you don't have a debuff by yourself, but you do though, right? You have that final damage.
Yeah, I have the final damage
exactly.
debuff on my flash, and then I have the mage debuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's more one you use for bossing only, but within bossing it's very good. Spirit of Freedom, if you get other characters with Spirit of Freedom, it can stack into the same one, so that can help you out quite a bit, especially for CRA and up
I'm
for
doing
bossing.
Blaster right now.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I'll be able to get the IED Legion thing and then level up my Spirit of Freedom as well.
The other thing, do you need knockback resistance? Have you looked into if the Mihail link skill is useful for you?
I haven't ran into a situation where I've been like, damn, I keep getting knocked back. I really need knockback resistance, but it has definitely been like a mobbing thing where it's like, I'll do my like upwards flash jump and then a mob will just like run over and knock me off whatever platform I just tried to get up.
Having up jump and no knockback resistance is like the most annoying thing in this game.
It's definitely inconvenient, but it hasn't. I'm sure like none of the bosses that I go against are really like mechanically intensive right now, so maybe it'll be a problem like later. But I haven't noticed yet that like I've been really hindered by only having like 30 knockback resistance or something.
Someone says no need for Mihail as we get 100%. When do you get 100%? What is up jump? Not everyone has that. Do you wait? Hang on. When you use fusions?
Oh yeah. I read something about that. I don't exactly like know very much about it though, but you can't like get knockback when you're casting the fusion skill or something like that.
Oh, any dragon skills. Doesn't have to be fusion, but if it's a dragon skill, then you have 100% knockback resistance. Oh, okay, and you have a bunch of those that you're
Yeah, constantly, like the whole time.
Right. Okay.
So that's cool. Okay. I didn't know that's how it worked. I remembered at one point I read something like that, and I just kind of put it in the back of my brain. I was
well,
like,
that's probably why you don't notice as much that you're like getting knocked around, because there is that system. Because if that wasn't there, that you'd definitely know, like, yeah, I needed it. That would be like your immediate response would be like, oh yeah, God, it's so fucking annoying getting knocked off everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
The other God, links for me somehow is like hard to visualize. Hang on. Going down the list, like you have the pirate, and then you have the you have the DA. Well, actually, wait, we have this. I could just use this. The white numbers is you have the beast tamer. You have that one. You have this one. Yeah, so arc. Oh yeah, and I guess then later would be Demon Slayer, right? The extra boss damage for bossing specifically would be really
I could have
good.
done that already, but I got really put off of Demon Slayer because I didn't like Demon Avenger.
Okay.
How similar are those classes?
They're pretty different. They have the same like glide and jump mobility and everything. But their skills.
I think that's pretty cool, actually. That was like the one thing I did like about Demon Avenger.
Okay. I could. We could be friends now. Yeah, that's the one thing I love too. People are like, "Oh, the mobility is like, dude, gliding is like the coolest thing." What are you talking about? Like, it's so fucking fun. Now Corsair has the same glide mobility as well, so that's also pretty dope.
I don't understand why Evan doesn't have it. Like in the mount, you can like fly with Mir a little bit, like the similar glide. And I feel like that would be pretty cool. Just like fly on mirror for a little bit.
And then while you're doing that, your mirror's like, like shooting out damage while
Yeah,
you're just like,
absolutely.
gliding through the map. There was a glitch for a while that sometimes your glide would lock as a Demon Avenger. Like you'd let go of your keyboard and it would keep gliding. And what you could do then was you could use the Lunar Slash, like like around that swipes around you. You could use it while you were gliding through the map, and it was one of the coolest things.
That just sounds like if you saw someone doing that, you'd think they were like botting.
Yeah, well, it basically was looked like you were fucking hacking, but you were basically like an attack helicopter, just like mowing things down, going like. It was actually really, really fun, but it wasn't supposed to work like that. But unlucky. Yeah, there was another thing with Demon Avenger being like really, really overpowered a long time ago. I'll explain real quick, but basically, like if you get hats, you have a chance to like lower the cooldown on a skill, right?
Yeah, I've seen that potential. It's like the Mercedes Legion.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. But it's like a flat 2 seconds. But now they changed it to if it's under 10 seconds cooldown, it goes to a percentage instead. So it's not a flat 2 seconds.
Okay, I didn't know it was a flat amount. I thought it was just a percentage.
So in the past, it was a flat amount always. So Nether Shield is like a 5 second cooldown. So people would go for like 3 or 4 second cooldown reduction on their hat. And for 20% chance to skip cooldown on their inner ability and just hold down the Nether Shield button and have like 400 of those things flying around the map.
That's the one that like bounces around between the enemies, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then they would just like go to Helix and just like hold down the button and like and then just stand in the corner and the thing would just like explode. And that's so when I started DA, it was right after they quote unquote fixed that. So everyone was like, why are you playing DA? They're broken now. I was like, well, this is the only DA I know, so I mean, I think this is fine. But yeah.
I didn't say I do Golix as well. He doesn't have a boss crystal, so I forgot to mention him.
Oh yeah.
But,
do you do normal?
Yeah. I tried to do hard. I can kill the first head in about like half of the second one, but then I just die.
Yeah, it's a interesting boss fight. Yeah.
Yeah, not doing it. I don't know if doing the extra body parts. I know it like changes his health, but I don't know if it affects his moves. But I felt like I got punched a lot more only doing the one.
It affects his moves as well. So you have the stomach and you have the 2 arms, and those are the pieces of his body that he can use in the fight for extra attacks. If you kill the stomach, he doesn't have his pink breath, which is a very strong.
I have never seen the pink breath. I've killed the stomach every time.
You kill the stomach,
Okay, so that explains why I got punched more when I was doing.
Yes, then he has 2 of his hands available, so he's just like smacking all the time. Yeah, for sure. Yes, if you don't kill the stomach, he has a pink breath, which hits like the entire side and a little bit behind his face where he's facing, and then just if you stand there, you get hit for 50%. You get like seduced and inverted, and you just walk for a little bit, and then you just explode for 100% of your damage for your HP. So unless you iframe it like right at the right time, or the main thing is that you just stay right in the middle, and if you see his eyes light up, you teleport to the other side behind him, so you're far enough away, and then you dodge it. Other than that, it's pretty unforgiving, big skill. So that's the one you have to learn to deal with if you're doing Helix. Like that one is also available all the time. So, but the main thing is like getting smacked in phase 2. If you stand far enough on the platform, his hands cannot come out. Like if you're like way on the edge of the platform. So if you keep cycling between your skills and have something that can like drop down, I don't know if those little lightning balls can fall down and kill the potatoes on the bottom. If that's available, I'm not sure how.
Oh, you're talking about like the dragon dive lightning one? I rarely use that move. I don't know if it's good.
I think it's pretty weak early on, but I think it can kill the potatoes, right? Like they can just like kind of float around the map and kill the things on the bottom, so you don't have to go down.
Oh wait, are you talking about magic debris? I thought you were talking about one of my fusion skills. Oh yeah, magic debris can kill them. I think magic debris is super good.
Oh yeah, you know more about the class than I do. Whatever skills you have that can kill the potato, so you can stay up there, and preferably stay like all the way on the side in the corner of the second platform. You should be able to reach him from there without standing close enough to get smacked. He'll still do his other attacks and hit you a little bit, but the hand will never come up. Also, if the hand does come up, the safest way to do is like straight up jump.
Yeah. That I've had to do that sometimes. He just has that one attack that like it inverts your controls, so like I won't notice that I got hit by that, and then I'll just get hit with a hand and I couldn't have jumped because I wasn't like pressing down or something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The inversion also that puts a bomb on you that explodes for 99% damage after a while as well. So if you don't have full HP, you die to that. One thing you can do is if you don't have any purple debuff stacks from the potatoes hitting the middle, if you don't have those yet and you get inverted...
Oh, yeah, I can just leave.
Yeah, you can leave the...
I know
yeah,
about
okay.
that.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good, yeah. Well, not just, of course, like, just leave forehead. Like, it's still pretty tricky because you're, like, inverted and you don't have too much time.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, it is a possibility, yeah. Yeah, so I think more, as you move more into those links, you'll probably move out of things like Bravado and Rin's Blessing, because those, especially for bossing, those aren't, like, super duper amazing. Because just 10% IED.
How do I get more IED if I get out of those?
Well, we'll look at that a little bit. It's mainly under exclamation mark IED. I also have a link to like the IED sources. And we'll basically see which one of those sources are going to be more reliable and more not accessible for you. A lot of that is probably, but you already have from the familiars, right? Yeah, so familiars is one. The other one is like possibly on your WSE, so we'll get a look into that. But I see you have one line on your book.
Yeah, I'm not super happy with the book. I just didn't want to keep rolling it. I've gotten really lucky with just accidentally tearing up my gear and then just not getting like great things. I had to re-roll it a lot, but like I think the 3 things that I have legendary, I got 2 legendary off of Meister cubes from boss drops.
That's pretty lucky.
Like I just didn't intend on like tearing them up. It was just like, these are the gear that I have that I know is not going to expire, so I guess I'll put my cubes on that first. And then it's just tiered up each time, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll look at IED a bit. Are you familiar with IED on how it works and calculations and everything?
And Evan is kind of great when it comes to calculating it, but not so much when it comes to having it, because none of my skills really have any extra IED except for that 1/5 job skill. Like Elemental Radiance, the one that you have to do like the proccing for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has 100% IED, but then none of my other skills have any IED. So.
Okay, so that does mean that we have to rely on very high base IED without like the functional part. So we're basically. So did you ever calculate like functionally what your IED is?
I tried it one time and I was not getting the right number, but it was a while ago, and I think it was because I wasn't putting in my ambition.
So it was pretty close to it then, because ambition is a rather small source of IED, right?
Yeah, it was close, but I just wasn't getting it like exactly right, and I was like, I don't really understand what I'm doing. But I think if I went back, I could probably. Yeah.
So visually is also rounded up. If you're like at least like past the comma on the next number, it'll round up for a visual as well. So that's also why you sometimes don't reach that exact number. So the one thing, well, yeah, so 3k extra IED here. The links will still stay, even the ones with IED, but you're pretty heavy IED-wise on the link skills now. And you do have one line on your WSE. You have your familiars already. And the event buff disappeared. Right before that, you had a bit more. Boost nodes is going to take a long time before that gets into play. Hyperstats, I believe you have level 10.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
I don't have a soul weapon because I have enchanters and I have a lot of soul shards. I saw your video about like the event where you just got like streamer luck.
Yeah.
So should I wait for an event like that to use any of my soul shards, because I just haven't used any of them?
Yeah, I would wait until an event like that. Yeah.
But I have two of the things that I can use to enchant a weapon. I just I'm not gonna put it on my Fafnir. That's gonna go away.
Exactly, makes sense. Do you have boss accessory set bonus?
Yeah, I have 7. I put a picture of that next to the ring,
I see
like the first one.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was asking you as I was scrolling and immediately seeing it as you were answering. So I should scroll first, my bad. Okay. And you do have, right? You have that shoulder on for the 2 set with the Kana treasure.
Yeah, I forgot to throw that in the screenshot. It's not a great set, but it's been it's like slightly better than the Magnus shoulder, and then an 8 set for a boss accessory wouldn't give me anything. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 9 would, but then you'd have to figure out another item to throw in there. So either make an Ephia's ring or
yeah, I'm working towards the Iphia's ring right now. It's like I could have had it already. I didn't realize I needed to have, or I needed to be like holding 10 accessories.
Oh, you
So
just thought 10 in total, so you got rid of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens.
I've been extracting them, so I'm at like 5 or 6 right now. So it's like within the next week I can just get that ring, because I only have a picture of 3 rings in here. My 4th slot was originally a like that platinum ring that you get from the Silent Crusade, but I got a cracked ring from Gollix recently. So now it's just being place held by that. But either way, like I'm not putting any effort into it because it's just like a bad ring.
Yep. No, that makes sense. You have that as a placeholder shoe. Yeah, because I think we can just go into the equip specifically now, right? And then kind of incorporate all the other stuff that we talked about into it, make sure that it all makes sense as a whole picture.
That works.
Yeah, so if you add the Ephias and then switch the shoulders, that's probably going to be a nice little buff. Let's see where the emphasis needs to be.
That'll probably end up being better than like the 2 or 3% damage. That,
yeah, I believe it's 3%. Yeah, yeah, you replaced it with 10 essentially. So that'll be a good addition. Yeah. The main thing, well, not the main thing, but one of the main things is going to be that the Evan can use a shield as your secondary weapon.
Is that
which might be news to you? Yeah, because the shield. So basically, are you doing normal Cygnus? Have you gotten the shield recipe from that?
Oh man, I may have.
You may have gotten rid of it. Yeah. So there's
yeah,
it's a yellow.
Like, they junk up my inventory.
It's a yellow smithing recipe that you're looking for called the Deimos Mage Shield. Definitely look out for that one. It's Wednesday. Well, it's Thursday today. You probably didn't do normal yet today, right?
No, I have not gotten on today. I did a bunch of stuff like last night, but I haven't played today yet.
Yeah, so this one is like fine as a placeholder. You want to move into the shield because the shield can be Starforced up to 20, which makes it way stronger in base stats than a book. Yeah, and because the potential stats are the same, that makes it just way better, and you'll have more Starforce, which is always nice.
I didn't know that. That's really good, actually.
Yeah, I found it out, well, also a while ago, but like that Beast Tamer actually uses shields as well. I didn't know that for the longest time. I thought they just had to use the whistle, but I guess they could use a shield the whole time. I found that out very late as well, but yeah.
So it only drops from Cygnus?
It drops from, there's something else that drops it, but it's like in a split map, so it's not really reliable to farm for.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be a good idea. Hopefully you can get one soon-ish, so you can, well, Star Forcing wise, you don't have to rush it, right? Because you have this one already, so it's not like you need to. Any kind of upgrade is going on top of this, so it's not like an upgrade from scratch or anything. But it would be a good thing to start working on that and see if you can get a shield made. So you have to make sure you level up your smithing to make sure that you have a high chance of crafting it. I don't know if you have smithing leveled up.
I think it's like level 6 because I wanted to craft that dragon armor that I saw was in there.
Right, that's dropping now, isn't it?
The gold stuff is, but there's like a higher level one. It's like reverse dragon armor, like 120 stuff that like grows with you. And I saw it just like on accident. I was like, oh, that looks cool. Let me try to craft it. And it was like, you need to be level 6.
You need. Don't you need recipes for that though?
There's another one. There's like a level 130 one that you need recipes for.
Oh, and does that incorporate the reverse in the recipe? Because I have some of those recipes, but I've never like double clicked them because I don't know if you click them that if it only lasts for like 24 hours and you have to immediately make it or something. I'm kind of scared to use them.
Yeah. So the 130 ones, the reverse equipment is in the recipe, which is why I think the reverse equipment doesn't have a recipe.
Right. Okay, makes sense.
But I have never seen the recipes for that, so I just looked up like what it needed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an extra little side thing, I guess, for Evans.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've like really looked at for smithing. Other than that, like I've slowly leveled up accessory crafting because I know at some point way in the future I'm gonna want to make Meister rings.
Yeah,
So I figured it'd be nice to have my accessory crafting at least close. So I think I'm at like level 8 for accessory crafting.
Oh yeah, Abyss
Because
Dragon Gear.
I don't want to just have to grind it all the way to 12 once I do need Meister rings.
Yeah, the other gear is Abyss Dragon Gear. Someone's saying it's not worth the ingredients because I believe you do need primals to craft it.
Oh yeah, I've gotten 2 primals and still not a single Dominator pendant.
Well, just keep trying, keep mowing down Arc. Not much more you can do.
Yeah.
Primals and Confusion Fragments. Okay, I have plenty of those. I have like over 100 primals and like 300 Confusion Fragments, so that's fine.
Jesus, I have like 2 primals and 2 Confusion Fragments.
Yeah, well, there's a huge form of scaling, right? Like I've been playing for a lot longer, but also I can do Arc on a lot of different characters, so that increases your chance of getting them by quite a lot. And because those are transferable, it's actually quite a good things to tier up on, to scale up on. But the fact that you already have 2 primals at this level is actually already pretty lucky, pretty impressive. A lot of people only get their first one when they're like 230 or something. If they're really like focused on leveling hardcore, it takes a while for them to get their first one. Yeah, so that's like for the secondary, for the emblem, there's like no work to be done there. That one's like completely like locked in for the next 40 levels basically.
Yeah, I was really happy
to do
with
anything with that one. But yeah, so for the shield, and then depending on what you get on the shield, it might be kind of important what you end up doing with everything else, right? Because if the shields end up doing something weird, like 1 line of magic attack, 1 line of boss damage, 1 line of ID or something, then that ticks like all of your boxes for now, and then you move into that. But what if it rolls, I don't know, like 1 line of ID, 2 lines of boss? That could be good enough, but that does also mean that you'll lose some damage when you're mobbing, so then you want to use this one instead for mobbing because it's a bit better.
Yeah, and then I could roll this one out of the IED if that happened.
Yeah, you could do that. Ideally, though, for like secondaries, you'd want to just have like 1 specific secondary. You don't want to like double too much. It makes sense to have like 1 temporary and then move on to another one for like permanency, but I wouldn't work on 2 of them if I don't have to, right? So like ideally, you want to roll like 2 lines of well, ideally you have like 2 lines of magic attack, 1 line of boss. Like that's mostly for the secondary what you'd want. But since you're locked into this emblem, it seems that a line of ID wouldn't be a bad idea either. Or if you do end up rolling like full magic attack or magic attack and boss, it'll be a bit tricky. Like, do you use the one with ID? Do you use the other one? You probably use the other one, but then you need to get the ID somewhere else. The main chunks of ID that are coming is like filling out your Legion and the Superior set. And if you don't have a line of ID,
the Superior set.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while.
I can't even imagine Helix. Like Hardlix is hard. So.
Yeah, no, he has just so much HP. Yeah. What could end up happening though is that you like that you end up into like a line of ID.
Yeah, I
on
could
your
roll
weapon.
ID on my weapon as well. Yeah.
So on the one hand, it's like bad that the emblem is this, but on the other hand, it gives you way more outs on all the other stuff. So there's a bunch more outcomes that could be good for you, which means that on average it's going to be cheaper for you to roll the other ones. So it's kind of like a blessing in disguise, right? Because you basically want to see, that's why you say like WSE, like weaponry, secondary, and emblem is basically just one 3-piece puzzle where you want to make, it's basically like 1 equip with 9 lines, and the total 9 is what matters, not necessarily what 1 item has. What 1 item has becomes important much later if you're trying to min-max everything. So that's not like order of the day here at all yet. So yeah, that's like a general way of looking at it. The 215% IDs is already is really nice. And you have your 2 slots.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
then I have
all.
the 2-3 as well, which is kind of insignificant, but it's in there. It took me forever to get those badges.
Oh yeah, you got the 3% ID ones. Yeah, nice. The gloves is like potential that you don't really expect at this point in the game, but you have it, so congrats.
Yeah, I got it to legendary on accident, like I was saying, and I was like, okay, well, what's a good one for gloves? And I was reading that like crit damage is really good, so I just rolled it a few times till I saw a crit damage, and then there was an intelligence in there too, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just take those.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting to have legendary gloves right now, so like I didn't really have a plan for this, but I'll take it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and that's a good salvaging of that situation for sure. Yeah, so the options are like you did mention like for transfer hammering over. I would probably, if you're moving into Abzo, probably be so it'd be like two options, right? Either you like continue star forcing this one and then transfer it over, but then your legendary potential goes down to epic and you have to restart from there. Or
Wait, is that a thing that happens?
yeah, transfer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you transfer hammer, your highest tier of potential that could be transferred over is epic, so it would tier
Oh,
down.
I've never transferred anything above epic. That sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does go up with you, but it will take like equivalent lines. So it'll probably be a 6% intellect line on the third line, but the top line will be redone because critical damage doesn't exist in epic, and you'll roll over it anyway because you want to tier up. So what probably would be a better option is to just get more gloves, more 150 gloves, and maybe even get the root gloves.
Yeah, I have the root gloves, and I have another pair of these as well.
Yeah. So yeah, what probably be better is if you want to. So there's two major options, right? If you're just going for Abzo, quote unquote, and you're aiming for 17, it makes more sense, and you have the items, and there's an event. It makes more sense to just Star Force on the item. Let me take that back. You want to make sure that you don't risk blowing up items that are hard to replace in general,
Yes.
right, in the game. So Abzo is hard to replace. So thinking about if the level 150 are equal to come by and there's an event, then you want to prioritize that for Star Forcing and then move on from there to the Abzo, right? So that general idea in the back of your head is good. But I wouldn't use these gloves, but you can use similar gloves that are not this exact pair of gloves instead. So just insert that into your strategy and then you're fine.
Okay.
Basically, so you don't have to safeguard, right? So make sure that you have access to backups, and then you don't have to safeguard. You can get up to 15, or if you make a lot of money, you can go crazy. But I wouldn't go for something like 18 or something, because that's like pretty prohibitively expensive, and then when you transfer, you lose 1 star, so you get down to 17, which basically means that you could have also just done 15 and then waited for a 5, 10, 15, and then gone up to 16 at 100%, transferred, go up to 16 again at 100%, and then just safeguard a 17 and then be done. That's way cheaper than going for 18 and risking all the booming between 15 and 18 just to transfer back down to 17, which is already like the safe spot on Abzo. So if you do want to go beyond that, you want to go further beyond that. You want to go at least to like 20, 21, or 22. And if that's like crazy numbers for you, then just stick to like getting it to 15 during a either 30% off or 1+1 Star Force event, which we have coming in not too long, in like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So that could be a good event for you to look forward to getting some stuff to 15 and prepped to either either you'll just sit on it until you have, well, you'll just wait until you have Abzo, right? And then either 5, 10, 15 comes first or Abzo comes first. But in both cases, you'll have to wait for the 5, 10, 15 to bump it to 16, transfer it over, bump to 16 again, and then safeguard up to 17, and then you'll have 17-star Abzo. Okay. The one thing transfer hammering does is does not move the flames with it. So you can, if you do get Abzo, you can already flame it ahead of time. It doesn't get overwritten. So that's one thing that you can move your flames towards if you want to.
Speaking of flames, I have absolutely no idea how to calculate that. I understand what it is. Like looking at it, it's the green numbers, but like I don't. I hear like tier whatever flames, and I don't really know what I'm like looking for with things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So I haven't really messed with flames much at all.
Yeah, let me just check everything, make sure, because there's like that's 3 ways, right? It's like the potentialing, star forcing, and flaming. Those are like the main 3 ways of like upgrading your stuff.
Yeah, I heard you say it was like the sprinkles once you're done with your cake. So I legitimately have not looked at it at all. But like while we're here, definitely, I think it'd be beneficial to at least like learn what this stuff is.
Yeah, for sure, because the other 2 have events, so it makes more sense to save up for and have like a big plan for those. And since Flames doesn't have events, it's more something you do on the side, and then once you're done with the other 2, you kind of like finish it off.
Wait, does Potential have events?
Well, sometimes you have cube sales, right? So there's,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's DMTs, which have been horrible in the past times, which basically means that whenever you use red cubes, black cubes, or bonus potential cubes, that you have double the chance of tiering up to the next rate compared to normal. And then sometimes there's also cube sales with just cheaper cubes, sometimes like 15% off, sometimes 20 or 25, sometimes 30% off. Sometimes limited amounts, sometimes unlimited, really depends. And then sometimes those two events overlap as well. So if you're like massively trying to tier up a bunch of items, that can save you a lot of money on just the tier up part, of course. If there's a general like unlimited cube sale, that could be really, really good for both tiering up and for re-rolling after the tier up, because, you know, you've already rolled in legendary a little bit. You know that sometimes getting up to legendary is the easy part, but then getting the actual lines you want might be the harder part.
That is what I've noticed.
Yeah, especially for some items, right? Because there's also variants. I don't know to which extent you're aware of this, but like some items have way more junk lines, so there's a very a lower chance.
You said it was like the armor mostly, which is why you want to do like your WSE and then like your accessories and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other one, it's just on average it'll be way more expensive. Like your CRA stuff in general, like that's the hardest part. So if you get that up to unique, that's already good enough. Just get like 2 lines on unique and then just leave it there and focus on all the other stuff first. Yeah, so because those events exist, and you know, in general we save up money so that all of your money that you have basically becomes more valuable during those events. Therefore, Flames is just something on the side. If you're okay, because you have heard like some progression sessions already, are you generally like okay with like which items to move into and like the balance between the upgrading? Because it seems all pretty good. Seems like you've already listened pretty well to to the things that I've talked about. Like,
so I know I'm gonna move into Dominator instead of the Chaos one. I don't do Papilletta, so like I don't think getting a Pap Mark would
No, that's maybe a little bit early. Yeah.
I tried him one time like really early on, and I didn't understand the mechanics at all, and it was just like an unfun fight. So I figured I would just go back to him whenever.
Yeah, like once you can do like CRA solo, I think it'll be like the next step after that to like look into. Like after CRA solo, you have like H-Mag, Akechi, and then Chaos Papillatus, kind of like as a group of bosses. That'll be the next step to go to.
A harder tier of Magnus sounds awful.
Yeah,
I hate that boss too.
You don't have the restriction as much with like the blue curtain, right? But there is a lot of positioning is very important. So, but I do have.
Wait, there's no blue curtain in Hard Magnus?
Yeah, and then it gets smaller, right, near the end, and then you have to stand in that to deal full damage and to not take damage over time and everything. Yeah, and he has way more HP, so it's more centered around making sure that you have what is it, like more you're more burst oriented. Make sure that all your cooldowns are up and basically just focus on binding and bursting as much as possible on HMAG. And then if you're dead, you just stay dead and wait for your cooldowns to come back, kind of thing. Like that's how you get your first kill. It's pretty uneventful and you're just dead for like 70% of the boss fight. And then you just focus on bursting.
That's how I was doing normal Magnus for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you basically go from doing that on normal to like being able to just burst down normal to doing that on HMAG until you can burst him down. Like it's a slower progression, but you basically go back down to the drawing board and just do it all over again. But of course, his drops are way better, way more soul shards. Yeah, and way more money on the crystal as well. So that's why it's worth doing.
Yeah, and then it also drops like the cape and stuff.
Tyrant cape, yeah. Tyrant cape drop rate is very high, so as soon as you get that first one in, that's going to be a huge upgrade immediately, and then you just hold on to that.
Should I actually do that? Because I can't Star Force it. And I think at where my cape is right now, it's like 2 less magic attack. I don't know how much stat it is.
I think it's the same stat.
Would it even be worth?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Probably not then in your situation. They would be probably too similar to upgrade into.
Yeah, because then I'd have to like repotential it and stuff, and then eventually I would just be replacing that anyway with Abso. So like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so most people don't worry about a Tyrant Cape.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the Tyrant Cape. Yeah, most people in your situation don't have the Wings of Fate, so then it's a big upgrade because they'll have some pencil or stuff or something lying around. So then it'd be in a big upgrade. But yeah, I think it's the same. It's like a 50 all stat and then like 25 attack or something? Or like 30? I
think 30? It's 30 for,
it might be 30,
the Tyrant one.
Yeah, so it's very close.
This one's like 28.
And you already have 9% intellect. Yeah, so it would be like a decent amount of money invested for not really much of an upgrade. Yeah, so it makes more sense. It does get boss flames though, so that would be like a benefit, but...
Oh, okay.
But that would be the only I don't think that's enough of a benefit. Everything included. There's like too much stuff to already work on to worry too much about that small of an upgrade in one slot. Because there's also no set bonus or anything, so there's not too many quote-unquote aggravating circumstances to like make that worth it, I would say.
Okay, wait. So yeah, back to flames though.
Yeah.
Boss flames.
Yeah.
I have an understanding that boss equipment, except for like I think you said at one point the horntail necklace has higher flames than regular equipment.
Yeah, boss is like a bad term. We used the term boss flames before because that seemed to fit kind of what we were looking for. But the term that we're looking for is just like, does something have advantageous flames or not? Do they have flame advantage or not? Like, that's what we wanted to describe. And with every other word that people use, like some people used KMS flames, or they used strong flames, or they used boss flames, like, it was just always kind of confusing because, well, not all the boss flames work like that. Not all the KMS flames work like that. So there was always exceptions. But the thing that we were really trying to label was, does it have advantage on the flames or not? So that's just the group that it is. I have a whole flame video on this, but in short, basically, it links to a database that keeps track of like all the items that have flame advantage. So if you look for, in the beginning, if you're not sure if an item has flame advantage or not, it looks at that database. You can just like Control F for the item name. If it exists in there, it has flame advantage. If it doesn't, if it's not in there, it doesn't. That's pretty straightforward. The other thing, the main thing, is that when it comes to flames, and then this goes into like the tiers, right? When it goes into, I'll link you the video as well, so you can look at that in your own time afterwards. It goes into more detail. Basically, after that video, you'll be able to tell for any item in the game, like, is this a good flame or a bad flame? So that'll link to a bunch of other resources that I have. Resources, yeah, so there's a bunch of resources here. Flame calculator, so that's the flame advantage database, right? That's this link. And here, so this is essentially what I'm like talking about, and this like pretty much sums up all the things. So this is looks like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and this has like all the exceptions as well. So most of the things you're looking to is number of lines. This is like a very big telltale on an item, whether or not it has flame advantage or not. Because a flame advantage.
So like my Sweetwater stuff that has literally like 2 lines, I think.
Yeah. So
is bad flames advantage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And the one thing I do clarify, because I'm trying to put myself into the into the shoes of someone who hasn't played this game at all. Like it's not like every individual item has the chance of having flame advantage or not. It's just that an item name determines whether it has or doesn't have advantage. So that's why the database of like the list of items exists, because like you can't have flame advantage like if you use a flame on a Sweetwater tattoo, like just never. It's not like that some do or some don't.
So specific items just can't get it, and then some like just will inherently have it.
Yeah, so there are small ways around that, and the only way around that is transposing. So that's why transposing is a thing that we use in the game into like a Sweetwater monocle, for example, from a Papulatus mark, because as opposed to
transposing's that thing at the guy in Commercy, right?
Yes, yeah. So as opposed to transfer hammering, transposing does move the flames from the source item to the target item. So that way you can get a flame advantage flame on a monocle, but that's because the Papulatus mark had it. But then if you were ever to reflame it, you just roll over with a bad flame again because the item itself doesn't have a flame advantage. So that's why we aim for like really good flames before you transpose, because after that you can't touch it anymore, or you'll just destroy it basically. And it'll just get to the same point as not transposing at all, almost. Like it'll basically be the same as just leveling one up by itself and getting an okay flame on it. So the 4 lines, that's the most important thing. So if you see 4 lines, which can be a little bit deceiving because sometimes it can look like 3 because numbers can stack. I'll show you that in a second. But if you see an item that only has like 1 line of a flame on it, then you immediately know it's not a flame advantage item. So it's very soon you'll be able to know which ones. And because you know it depends on the item name, not on the specific item, you'll immediately make sense. Like, oh, all Sweetwater stuff, all doesn't have flame advantage. All Gallic stuff, all doesn't have flame advantage. Like, that's immediately like a bunch of important stuff completely.
Gallic stuff doesn't have flame advantage either?
Yeah, no. And that's mainly because it doesn't exist in KMS.
Oh, really?
And neither does Sweetwater stuff. So that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I knew Sweetwater was JMS. I didn't know Golix was though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why they struggle way more for the IED than we do, because they don't have that
they
set
don't
bonus.
get the 30% from Superior.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
Helix and Hardlux used to be way easier and were made a lot harder because their set bonus is so good, even compared to the pitch boss set items that are like, you know, super hard to get. they're
The
still
unattainable items that aren't like super good.
Mm-hmm.
I've
And then
heard a
their
little
set
bit about
bonus
it,
is
like,
still worse somehow
there's like the
than
badge from Black Mage that's worse
Yeah,
than
casually.
that other badge that's not obtainable now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they had to like rebalance stuff a little bit to bring them in line with the balance that was intended in KMS. Yeah, while still, you know, playing to the delicate sensibilities of the Western players that they just need more to be able to play. You know. But yeah, KMS plays this game with so many fewer sources of damage, and they do just fine. So it's possible, but it's always difficult to take a step back if you're used to something. So people always like throw a little bit of a temper tantrum whenever that happens. But in the end, people will keep playing because it's still viable. Like, you know, it's still balanced around that, so it's still okay. Yeah. So when it comes to the lines and the tiers, so this is like if you use a powerful flame. So you get tiers 1 to 4, 3 to 6, and then with an Eternal Flame you get tier 2 to 5, and here 4 to 7. So the upper and the lower bound just go up by 1. So you'll also see that like even though an Eternal Flame is better than a powerful flame, it's really, really close in like outcomes.
Okay.
So like an insane difference. So if you want to prioritize, and that's like what I talk about in the end of the video, the general priority is like your weapon, and then everything that is the highest level with flame advantage, and then the lower items with flame advantage, and then the highest level items without flame advantage, basically. Like that's the general order in which you want to flame things. So if you...
what all stats can get, like what all stats can get enhanced by the flame?
Yeah, so that goes into this stuff, and this is just like a bunch of grids with a bunch of numbers, right? So depending on the level of the item, there's different values for the different tiers.
Oh god.
And these are those tiers that are mentioned up here, right? So if an item doesn't have flame advantage, you're basically looking at 1 through 4, and for flame advantage, you're looking 3 through 6. Right, so if you have like a level 150 item, and then you're looking like the possible outcome. So that's like if you hit strength line, then you get anywhere from this amount, from 24 to 48. But it is possible to get strength increase. So you can only get 1 line each per item, but you could get strength increase, and then you can also get like strength plus dex increase. Like that's a different line, but it can be on the same one. So that's when you have an item that has like 20 dex and like 60 strength or something. It probably has strength and also strength and dex next to it. But it's not like it has a line of 60 strength and a line of 20 dex, but it actually has a line of 40 strength, a line of 20 dex, and 20 strength. That's like how the lines. But because this is like kind of a puzzle, and you don't want to be occupied with like, is this tier 3 of this and tier 5 of that and tier 4 of that? Instead, what I use is the flame score that just throws everything into one pile and redirects everything to basically like how much main stat is this equivalent to, so that you don't have to, you know, go too deep into. And basically this uses kind of like a factor of what is the max possible outcome of this flame, and then kind of takes like a percentage of it, roughly, is kind of how it works. It doesn't actively work like that, but that's kind of what it comes down to, right? Because if you go for like the best possible flame, you'll be spending an infinite amount of money or like a finite amount of money, and it will be very inefficient to do that. But if you aim very low, you can get it in 2 flames, but there's like very easy gains to be made. So depending on how far in the game you go, and depending on the levels of the items, etc., you set certain boundaries of like what is the flame score you're going for. And the flame score, like how you value these things, like how you redirect them to main stat, depending on what stat it is, because all stat has a certain value, weapon or magic attack has a certain value, your secondary stat has a certain value. That all depends on, in the stage of the game that you're working towards, what is the general balance going to be of how much percentage all stat will you have, how much secondary stat will you have, how much magic attack and attack will you have, etc. So it tries to also future-proof that value to make sure that you don't have to redo it every time. So it is possible that you have 2 items and one says it has a better flame score than the other one, but the one with the lower flame score gives you more range right now. That's possible, but if you keep upgrading everything and you keep getting to the point in the game where everything has a certain level of being upgraded, eventually the flame score will be what predicts what will be the better item at that point, just to save you money from having to redo it at every at every junction, basically. Does that kind of make sense? Or
yeah,
could you give an example with that? Or basically, if you want to visualize it, like if you have, let's say that you have 1,000 stat and you have 1% all stat, you can imagine that if you add 1% all stat, you get an insane amount of damage from that, right? And in the other situation, if you have 1 stat, but you have 1,000 percentage stat, if you gain 1 stat there, then the 1 stat is way more valuable than the 1% all stat. So it all comes down to the balance of the stats. And because it's going to be, so it's like a general approximation of like how good is it going to be to make sure that you save money in the long run. So if you have a bunch of flames and you know the general order in which you want to flame things, basically you can just look at the progression grid to see what kind of flame scores you're looking for. So in the beginning, it might be a little bit hard to see like, oh, this item has this flame score. So you can use the flame score calculator in the beginning where you can just add the variables. So you look at the stage of the game, you look at the variables, and you look at what class you are, which determines like how it's going to get calculated, and then the number will roll out. And then basically you can look at this grid and look where the number is. Is it a flame advantage item or a flame disadvantage item? What kind of number am I roughly looking for? And if you're just approximately, so the lower you're at, like the less important it gets. It's mainly once you get into the late game and the end game that it gets pretty important that you try to approximate those values. Because if you're like 20 value under on each item, but you have 15 items, then you're looking at 300 stat that you're just missing out on, which is quite significant.
Yeah.
And that's basically the whole thing. The video goes into more detail about how the calculator works and shows a few examples so you can like go along with it to make sure that you get everything. But that's in general flames. Yeah. So it's mainly just important is that once you get your more permanent weapon, is that the weapon gets a good... so that's the other thing, I guess, the last thing. So for the weapon, there's a different category here, and it just shows the tiers that we just talked about. Because the tiers of magic attack are a percentage of your base magic attack. So for every single weapon, that's a completely different number. So I can't put that in a grid. That would be like all over the place. It would say something like going from 50 to 200 or something, which is like too wide of a margin. So it just goes by the tiers of the... and especially as a mage, you'll get way more magic attack from that. So the higher tiers are very, very beneficial for you. Especially for Evan, because I believe you have like, is it 30 or 40% magic attack or something somewhere?
Yeah, like the one passive on my dragon, I think.
Yeah. So that one makes your your values on your flames even better. It also kind of skews. So later on, if you're using your IED number to go into the WSE optimizer, I have a video on this as well, where you basically try to look at, okay, what are the optimal lines of attack, boss, and IED on my weapon, secondary, and emblem. You do have to make sure that here for your base percentage attack that you do add the passive for the magic attack for the Evan, because it can skew what would be your optimal setup like down the line if you want to make sure that you're either close to it or not. So if you have some kind of outcome where you have 9 lines, any kind of distribution of attack, boss, and IED, if you want to make sure like, oh, I have this one, for example, like I have this one, what is the optimal one? You can see like, okay, this is how much final damage I get from this. This is what the optimal would be. Okay, that's close enough for me. It will cost me billions to redo that, or tens of, maybe hundreds of billions. So I'm not going to waste money on that. I'm going to work on other stuff
hundreds
first.
Hundreds of billions?
Yeah, it could unironically be like the 3-line emblem with magic attack, like on cube sale is on average 30. But I've heard of people spending like 100 bill to get their secondary to 3-line. I've known people who spent like 300 bill to try to get double prime on their weapon and haven't gotten it yet. Yeah, this like order of magnitude of min-maxing. So that's why when you get the stuff like your emblem is, like you kind of might laugh like I'm exaggerating, but this stays with you for like at least 40 levels, right? Like this is, it's not endgame, but everything else has so much more room to grow than this thing that it makes no sense at this point to throw any money at that, like for a long time.
Okay, cool. I'm happy with that then.
Yeah. You can look at exclamation mark cubing if you want, and then exclamation mark Star Force as well has like simulators. So if there's ever an event and you want to make sure like which event will have the best outcome for me, it's just in general to get things to 15 stars, you want to use either 1+1 or 30% off events to get things to 15. Specifically, things on the item if you have backup without safeguarding, on the item with safeguarding if you don't have backups, or 1 tier lower that you will transfer hammer over to the items that you don't have replacements for. And then anything going past 15, you want to wait for a 5 to 15 event, basically. That's just the safest way, the cheapest way, the fastest way, the most reliable way, like just across the board, good. There are exceptions, but people who are in those exceptions, they understand the game way better, and they know exactly what they're talking about, and they know that I know that those exceptions exist, so that no need to comment on the video. Yeah, so when it comes to the potentials, and you want to get like a general idea of how expensive it's going to be, you can just tick like the type of item you want, the type of cube, the rarity that it's at, the rarity of the item. You want to go for 2-line crit damage on gloves, for example. You can put some more trials to make it a little bit more reliable. Like standard deviation will be a little less wide, and it'll just give you like a general approximation of like, okay, this is how many cubes it's going to be. So this is the median, this is the average. The average is always going to be quite high because there's going to be 2 really unlucky dudes.
Yeah, that one like unlucky.
There's going to be that one dude spending 79 bill getting it, and then someone else gets in 100 mil, right? There's always a minimum cost, so it's always the average is very, very slanted towards the upper end. So like, yeah, but you do want to build in a buffer. So I would say like 1,000 to 1,100 cubes is probably like a pretty safe bet. Or you can go by the percentiles, like 75% of people get it within 22 bill. That's still pretty wide, far from this, right? So there's like a 1 in 4 chance that you spend this amount. So,
that's crazy. I haven't even hit a bill yet, so like...
But that's with red cubes, right? So you can see like, okay, what if I do it with black cubes instead, right? So we're looking at 12 to 15 bill average cost. So why do people use black cubes to get this? It's like, oh, like the average cost goes down by a bit, and the average doesn't really go down. And the percentiles goes down as well. So it's cheaper to use black cubes here. And that has to do with, even though black cubes by themselves are more expensive, they have a higher chance of giving you double prime chances on cubes. So the chance on the double and the third line are doubled, on the second, and the third line are doubled compared to red cubes. So you can also check like, okay, which cube do I use on which items are going to be the cheapest next, etc., etc. And that's a good thing to do ahead of time to get like a general idea of like, what is the next thing I want to be upgrading on. But mostly once you get to 15 and 17 star and you want to think about getting most things legendary, it's all about just sitting on your money and waiting for a good sunny Sunday.
Okay.
That's going to be the general thing, yeah. Yeah, I think we can circle back to like everything now. Is there any questions that you have at this point?
No, I usually like ask my questions right away. Otherwise, like I will not remember. So I think if I've had any, I've definitely like tried to throw them in there while we've been talking about things.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Yeah, you don't want to like lose track of it because we go over a lot of stuff, so you lose your thought. But maybe like with the overview of like everything that I've said, is there like any character or any equip or anything that you just still have any questions about? You can throw it out now. Or the Matrix.
Like, should I go for more badges? How much? You
need 10 of them for the third slot, so that's quite.
Yeah, I think I'm at like 3 or 4.
It could be something you. Yeah, you can be. I think that's something that you work on eventually if you're definitely sure you're going to be maining it, but I don't think it really becomes necessary until you like start approaching level 250 or like 240 plus. Honestly, until then, yeah, it's not like a priority, and you might open some booster packs along the road maybe, and then you get like one or two of those bosses that basically are the gatekeepers to a set. Like if you get a Seraph, for example, then
I was doing the Ludibrium one.
Yeah.
And I was doing great. I was like getting some of them, and then I saw that like
Papulatus is in there.
I forget his name. Yeah, like the blue guy who was from like a Ludibrium party quest or something. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess I can't finish this one. I spent like the best like hour trying to farm.
You mean like Papa Pixie? Wait, there's a blue guy in the Ludibrium one? I thought that was only Papulatus as the hard one.
No, I didn't even know Pap was in there.
Yeah. Is Alishar in there?
Yeah, Alishar, that was his name. I was like, I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in the set, and I was like, I've never seen this thing before. I don't even know. So I like looked it up, and it was like Librium party quest. I was like, people don't do party quests.
Wait, I don't remember Alishar being in there. I thought it was only Papa's a boss. Oh, maybe I got that one as well then. Yeah, but there is definitely some gatekeepers like that where if you get those, the whole set suddenly becomes doable. Like for Aqua, for example, which is a really good set for you because it gives 1% magic attack as well. But you have to get Seraph, and he doesn't drop from the area boss. You have to get him through booster packs. So if you get him, the set is completely free. But if you don't get him, then the set is 0% free. So, and the other thing is there's 3 very easy sets to get, but they're at Moonbridge, Labyrinth, and Limina. So that's at 245, 250, and 255. You basically get the free set immediately. But without those, it gets pretty tricky to get to 10. So that's another reason why I don't really advise anyone to get to 10 before then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that is kind of all my questions. So you think I shouldn't worry about the Princess No thing then, since I'm gonna get a
good
GMS
shield. Yeah.
Okay.
The main thing, the main thing I would advise is if you're, I don't know if you joined the, if you use the boss role in the Discord for the CRA bosses.
No, I was trying to just get to a point where I thought I was like strong enough to contribute, and then I was gonna start looking for like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have like an idea of what strong enough to contribute was. I just kind of
exactly.
Looking at my soloing, like the practice ones, I was like, I'm not there yet.
You're getting dumpstered. There is a link. There's like a pinned link in those rooms which talks about like the requirements, and which also links to videos of me killing the boss, so you can see a little bit more like about the mechanics and everything. And I talk through the mechanics in the videos, so you can see a little bit more detailed on like what you're looking at and what you're going to be faced with when you do fight the boss. And people in the guild are trying to like organize more struggle runs, and it might also just be like you just do it by yourself, like on Discord or something, and then you just like stream on Discord, and then someone just like pops in and just kind of like helps you with the mechanics and what to do like in real time. We can start doing stuff like that as well, without like if you want to open yourself up to that, of course, to the back seating. But we're trying to.
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
We're trying to find some people who want to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind doing that myself either if I'm like not really in the mood for playing, but someone is like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a boss. You wanna like look over my shoulder?" Yeah, I mean that's content for me. That you guys are doing the content. I'll just give them like live commentary basically. Yeah, and then you guys do the content. Like that would be a win for me as well, because then I can just chill out a bit over my shoulder. So main things to recap would be like practicing the bosses. Definitely boost nodes is where like a huge amount of the damage is, so anything you can get your hands on boost nodes, jump on that like crazy. Slowly but surely keep moving on. Then Legion 3k is going to be huge, and then like redistribute all the pieces, move around. Lynx is pretty on point. Don't move out of the IED too soon, because you do kind of need it right now for CVAL, and then not so much HMAG, but like if you do get into Helix, like Helix has 250% PDR, so that one also requires quite a bit.
With the IED, the other problem that I was running into calculating it, because like I was saying, Evan doesn't have any functional really, but I do have the mage skill, and I had absolutely no idea how to like add that in. The
mage skill and your boost nodes later will probably be your only passive that you have. If you have this calculator, basically what you just do is like mage link, or you can call it whatever you want, and then whatever the percentage is that you can have 100% uptime on, that's when you want to throw into this calculator. And if you're bossing, then you reliably will have the max stacks. So you'll have to look at I
pretty much always had 100% uptime on it.
Yeah, so it's level 4 now, I believe, right? It can go up to level 6.
Yeah.
And if it's
I gotta make another mage.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For the intellect and for that, yeah. Well, unless it's a fire poison, doesn't give intellect, but whatever. So level 6 will give you up to 3 debuffs of 3% each. So it'll get chunked into one 9% ID line, and then you just add that, and then boom, it'll just be right here, and it'll add it right there. So like for your
Okay.
situation, you take like the Lumi link out and you just put Lumi tab 15. Codex is not a thing. Arcane Weapon is not a thing. You put like Fafnir Weapon, which gives you 10%. You have the CRA thing. Ambition, I don't know what your ambition is at. Probably something like 60 or something, so it gives probably like 6. Beast Tamer card is probably lower.
I think it's at 50, but yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Beast Tamer gives 3. Blaster, you're still working on. You don't have Superior Galax, you're still working on this one. Legion right now gives, what is it, like 6?
I think it's 6.
Yeah, and then you have like Familiar 1 will be 15, Familiar 2 is another 15. And then just by naming them like this, you can play around with it a little bit. What if you have Secondary has 30, Secondary. There's probably some other stuff, so that's when this comes into play, right? That you make sure you double check all of these. Oh yeah, there's a set bonus. Whoop. So it's like boss set gives you 10. Link skill. Oh yeah, there's the Hoyoung link. That's another 10. Zero link. That's another 10. And yeah, we're at 89.99. Oh, so it is rounded up, but only by a little bit, I guess. No, because you have the badge. Well, you have
2-3% line.
Yeah, 3% ones. So there is so in your picture there's something that's not on, or I'm running over something. Hyperstat, Sierra Full. Oh, you don't have the enhancement nodes. Those are not allowed, and the Mage Link. Those are not visible, so those are not allowed to be in here. But you can add those afterwards to come to the exact number. So I'm at 87.07 and you're at 90, so there's still something we're missing. So you go back down to the list, make sure there's something that you haven't forgotten. Potions, no. Guild skills, don't use titles. Do you have any idea on any titles? Do you know that? You're probably not.
Title, since mine just expired, I don't have one at the moment. I'm gonna get the Rudibus one once I can do Rudibus though, because that's the one that has the 5 IAD.
Right.
Or do you think I should get the, what is it, the Julieta, I think is what it's called?
Yeah.
Because I see that one's like really popular. A bunch of people have that one. But that one has boss damage instead of IED, right?
Yeah, the other one, the Rudibus one has 5% of each, and then the other one has 10, but it has more stats. It probably comes down to about the same, but the Rudibus one, you have to kill all the Rudibus bosses 20 times, so it's just going to take forever to get them anyway. It's not like you can rush towards it. Like, you want to get it, sure, but it's going to take you quite a while to get it. The Julieta one is more directly available.
Yeah, I can probably do that one, and then have that equipped while I work on the Rudibus one, since my other title did just expire. I wasn't even thinking about it, and then it was just like gone one day, and I was like, oh, alright.
Link skills, Legion member bonus, Legion grid bonus, set bonus, WC potential, equip base stats, ambition trait. What are we missing here? Do you have any passive skills that give you? No, you don't have any passive that give you ID, right? How did you get to 90 then? The screenshot was after the title expired, right?
Yes, it was. Because with the title, I was at like 91 or 92. And my Arcane Force was at 190. So that's the big way that I know it was afterwards.
We're missing something. Puzzle. Chat, puzzle with me. What are we missing?
Is the game live? Like, I could check.
It shouldn't be for another hour. Yeah. Hyperstat? We have Hyperstat.
Wait,
we have Legion.
You have Lumi, Zero, and Hoyoung in there.
Yeah. Zero, Hoyoung, and Lumi at 15.
Then Hyper, all my CRA stuff. My familiars.
Familiars, yeah. Ambition. The base items and the set bonus, the WSE, Legion grid bonus, Legion member bonus, link skills, familiars, and the badges. You don't have a soul. We have the hyper stats. You don't have any passive hyper skills. You don't have the boost nodes yet. You don't have specific ID of boss debuffs. You don't have event buff right now. You don't have title. You don't have guild skill. You don't have potion. How did you get to 90 in that screenshot?
I have no idea.
Where are the big brains in the chat? I've cultivated you guys for this moment, okay? I need my extra sets of eyes and ears in the chat right now. Guys.
This makes me a little happy, though, because when I was trying to do it myself, it also just didn't add up. So I'm glad that it's not adding up right now, too. Although I do kind of wish I could, like, see what it was.
Weapon bonus. You're talking about the soul, but it doesn't have a soul on it, and there's no IED on the weapon. There's this 10%, but I already added that. Yes, IED sources, yeah. Cape doesn't have any weird shit, no. 13 legacy, 15, 3. We have the 10% from the boss set. Wait, someone said Evan has an innate 20%. Really?
Wait, do they? No, I didn't. I saw someone in the chat said Freud's. I don't think Freud's gives.
No, Freud's doesn't give. Someone says you have a 20% passive. I did ask you about that. Let's see.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, that gets you to the 90. Hang on, Evan.
Okay.
Let's see if
okay, so 89.6. Yeah.
Dragon potential.
That makes sense. I feel like I
yes,
definitely
yeah.
do remember like leveling that skill up at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon
Okay.
potential draws up Mirror's potential and reveals his hidden abilities. Defense ignore permanently plus 20%. There you go. So there is a small passive there. Yeah, that's what gets you to the 90. There you go. We got it. It was a passive. Okay, because that was the only thing. Because we went through the list, right? Like there's nothing else.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was like here, character-specific IED skills or debuffs. This one. We did it, chat. Good job. See, this is why you need some people who play all the classes, or this is why I need to play all the classes and go through Project CRA, because this is the kind of stuff that's like hard to keep track of for 47 classes.
Yeah, I looked at all my like actual skills for any extra IED.
Mhm.
I forgot to look at all my passives though, so
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that they said that.
Yep, it's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good point to be at right now. A little bit more can't hurt though. So like boost nodes, and then so you have the mage at what, like 4?
Yeah, it was level 4. I just do not have a lot of character slots, so I've been like, I think that has been the most like taxing thing that I've been spending my money on so far, is like each day just buying an extra character slot to get whatever character to whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then every character just makes enough money to buy the next slot, and you just
Yeah, that's like all I've been doing.
barrel it over to the next one. Yeah. Yeah, so with your boost nodes, you'd be at a decent position, and then once you add Gollux set, the Abzo set will switch over, and then the Legion gets bigger, right? Your Legion 40 is gonna be the main thing, and then you take out the old Legion. Where is the old Legion? That has a 6.
Wait, so
now.
at max level, Legion gives 40%?
If you have 6k Legion and you fill the entire board with pieces, you get one chunk of 40%.
That's insane.
Yep, it's really.
Wait, so
really...
how far off? Like, I feel like it's super far off for getting like Gollux set though.
Yeah, so 2 items can drop, and then the other 2 items you have to get 700 coins each for to be able to purchase it. So your RNG on the drops, and it's not affected by drop rate, so that's like a huge Hail Mary. And then
cool.
1400 coins is just like a lot of running. Yeah.
Hey, I've got like 15 right now, so like.
Yeah, you're almost there. Pretty close. Over 10% there. Sorry, 1% there. My bad. So, on the road to greatness. Yeah, it's the main thing is like the big Legion chunk of ID that basically moves away any kind of necessity, especially if you have any kind of passive that you do, from needing a line of ID on your weapon secondary or emblem. So
yeah, that probably gets you to add like a bunch of range once you can get that like free 40%. I say free, but it's like 6k, which is more
free.
than double what I have.
It's free real estate. Yeah, no, it's got a lot of work, yeah. But yeah, I mean, you still have 20 characters, right? The top 40 characters, their levels count toward Legion, so the next 40 characters still count. If you make 40 level 60s, that's 2.4k extra. And then you're already at 5k, basically.
Oh yeah, true.
So you can also just make mass army of little gnomes, little level 60 gnomes. Just flood your legion with that to get like full access to 5k, and then once you have 5k, by putting the characters that you have in there, you can make all the characters even stronger, and then you can bump them from 60 to 100 very easily, and then just run a bunch of Zakum. That's another way to do it. But whatever, whatever approach is most fun for you. It can also depend on what kind of event is going on. But most events now seem to only activate past level 100 or even past level 120, or something like the bonking even only past 140. So yeah, it will really
Yeah, if
depend.
the bonking was at 120 this event, that would have been so nice.
Yeah, like 120 or 121 or something. Yeah, but I guess because it can give so much, they do want to put a little bit higher barrier to entry. And to be fair, getting to 140 these days is not like a huge order or anything.
No, yeah, it's still very easy.
In like 5 years, all the events
again soon, right?
I don't know. I don't think the anniversary event had one at all. It seems that they're doing like
Neo will have one, right?
Yeah, Neo had 2 Terraburns, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I started during the Awake event, so I didn't even get the first burning one, so I only got the one character. It would have been nice if I could have had like two 200s.
I see. Hotel Maple has an infinity pool, also some way of getting levels, but it's not like a mega burn though, right? Yeah, we'll look into the Hotel Maple patch notes once we get closer to like April and May. It's like a bonk? Okay. Oh, so another bonk-like event coming. Cool. And some some droplets and stuff that we can purchase.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be like a more long-termy thing, is whether you want to save up money for that. I don't know if that's like, if you're like quite there yet, although this is like a golden opportunity to make like a huge killing on droplets. Maybe only buy out the lucid ones or something, but it could get you up to 150 if you do get the same events as KMS, like 50 from the anniversary event and then 50 from Neo and then 50 with coins from Neo, up to 150, which is basically like, well, yeah, it's more than one whole arcane item that you're just getting, that you're able to purchase from the shop. But it'll be like, it'll probably be like 5 bill. So that is probably in your current situation quite a lot of money.
Yes, I have not hit a bill yet. I'm at like 500 mil, so like we're getting there.
But yeah, that's closer to like April and May and stuff that you can start worrying about that. So by that time, you'll be in a completely different stage of the game, and your earning potential will be very different because you will have moved into more like your accessories and more meso-obtain and more drop rate there. So the amount of money you just get through training is going to be way more.
Okay.
Alrighty, wait, did my playlist just switch? Wait, how did that happen? Wait, I was at this one. Oh, well. But yeah, I think we're already over almost 2 hours at this point.
Oh, yikes. Sorry, I talk a lot, I think.
It's okay, I let you, so I'll take part of the blame. But, that's what you do when it's interesting and there's, game is down, so what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we saw some KMS test SPIs, apparently a new patch, but those patch notes aren't out yet. But yeah, if that's everything I could do for you right now, of course, if you have any follow-up questions that pertain to the progression specifically, you can just hit me up on Discord if it's a more complicated question. Or if it's just like more like a passing by or like just for a general topic question, then you can always just hit me up in the chat, of course. I try to answer all the questions I see.
Yeah, I usually ask you a bunch of questions in chat.
Okay.
Like anytime you say something and like I have no idea what you're talking about, I like try to ask.
You're like, yeah, and if I don't see it, there's probably a bunch of other people in the chat who like either link a command or they link or they answer the question. Because I have a lot of very helpful people in the chat.
Helpful.
Yeah, quite proud of that. My little helpers, Scardor's little helpers in the chat. Yeah, cool. We'll enjoy waiting a little bit more for the game to come up, I guess. And hopefully some of the priorities were a little bit realigned, and maybe some extra ideas on how to go about certain problems that you, or certain, just certain tasks in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully the flames are a little bit more clear. Definitely watch those 2
Yeah,
videos.
that one was actually a big help because I had no idea what I was looking at with that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I got to like learn about that.
Yeah, I would say definitely check those 2 videos I linked you, just to make sure that you get all of that down, and that should like, you know, hammer the points home that I just talked about right now. If you see
All
those.
right, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It has been a big help. Definitely, there's so much in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, and if you're only a month in, you already made some crazy strides, and you know, I'll take partial credit because you are like on your way. You definitely made like upgrades in the right place, like pretty efficiently, more than I did when I was at your level. Like my account was a shit show at this point. So.
Well, yeah, but you didn't have like you to watch when you were at that level.
No,
so,
I mean
like,
I may have had me to watch, but I wasn't looking for that. I kind of like, I enjoy like fucking it up and kind of like realizing afterwards and kind of learning from that. That's what's fun for me. But it's really interesting to see like just from some guidance from someone like me, like how much stronger I could have been. I guess I don't. Yeah, if I really cared about that a lot, I would have felt really bad about that. But I don't particularly care about that too much, like personally. So. I don't mind as much. I don't mind like you know, like treading water for a bit until I can learn how to swim. That's okay, as long as I don't drown, you know.
Yeah.
If the risk for drowning was there, then I probably would have like looked up more guides or Googled more. But I basically Googled like what's a good character to start, and I saw some YouTube video that said DA is pretty good starter, and then that's all I did. And then I just did everything else on my own basically.
Oh, I found this like really memey flowchart.
Oh, on the subreddit, on the Reddit.
Yeah. And I ended up picking Evan. So
and then
that's
like
how I got mine.
big question marks and a shrug. Pirate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where all the classes that we don't have any classification for just all end up in. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, good luck, and I'll see you around.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Yes. Thank you. Bye bye. All right. What a nice guy. Okay, so we learned a little bit more about Evan. Now we definitely know that it has that 20% passive. We probably brought that one up last time, not yesterday. And of course the shield secondary, very important for some classes. If you're not sure what secondary is good for your class, make sure you check out !Princess No in the chat. That has a picture of all the Princess No secondaries, what their stats are, and it also mentions if those are best in slot or not. Because Princess No has most of the best in slots. And if it's not, it also mentions which one is that you want to go for instead. If you're unsure about how good they are, you can always Google them. Check for the Maple fandom wiki. That one is pretty up to date, not 100%, but as far as I know, that's the most up to date one. More than stuff like Hidden Street or Yumi Love. Those things tend to be a little bit more outdated in general. Not like a personal tech. I know Yumi Love does like resources for 600 video games, so it's pretty tricky to keep everything up to date. But yeah, hopefully everything a little bit more structured, a little bit more dotting the I's, crossing the T's. No major things except for flaming, no major holes or gaps in this person's knowledge, so that was pretty good. If you like one of these sessions, or you have data for me, battle analysis, monster kills per hour, or training videos on Moonbridge or up, make sure you check the description of the video to submit those, or to request my help and see how you can get one of these sessions. And until next time, I will see you then. Peace.